On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will be talking some Star Wars Rebels again to highlight how some of the final season's events may shape what is to come in the future live-action Star Wars shows. After they're done spewing emotionally charged quips about Rebels, the dudes will dive into two gaming stories that popped up since the last time they held Star Wars Mass, including an update on the rumored KOTOR project. After the game talk, they'll move into recaps of the latest Star Wars and High Republic comics before rolling their eyes over the idea of crossing the MCU over with Star Wars. To wrap, they'll honor fans with questions of the week responses that deal with animated characters they want to see in live-action form. And this week's edition of the Top 5 Star Wars Fan Artist Features of the Week. Punch it, Chewie. Hey, now everybody, Rebel Jawa, first one in the chat, we speak your name. That is right, my friends, we are back for a new episode of the Star Wars Time Show. And no, you are not living in a time loop. We are starting with some Star Wars Rebels talk again. Yes, a show that ended nearly 3 years ago has been on our radar recently, mostly because of yours truly right here, the Star Wars guy, the Star Wars dad, trying to, relate some of the Star Wars awesomeness to my now almost 5-year-old little girl. Last week, if you tuned in, I think some people are like, what the fuck? I mean, we're talking about Rebels. They're still talking about Rebels 40 minutes, an hour down the road. Well, you know what? Get your own Star Wars podcast and you can talk about whatever you want, right? Right, Nick? Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to do. Podcasts are easy, everybody. Just go make one.
Nick's just like, sweet. I get to sit here and not...
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at my phone.
I get to not say anything for the next 30 minutes or so while this idiot cries about watching Star Wars with his little girl again. So... But no, in all seriousness, it's not going to be as long and drawn out as last week. And I do think we had a good conversation on Rebels, kind of highlighting just the gem that it is within the Star Wars universe. And after completing my second run this week, season 4 is in the bank. The little one and I put it to bed yesterday, watched the final 3 episodes. Yes, the Cain and Death Jedi Knight, spelled with an N, still has the feels, but I'm not really going to get into that. That was kind of last week. What I want to do this week, Nick, as we talked about before coming online here, is I want to highlight some of the things that were said, left unsaid, some of the moments that kind of took place over the final 3 episodes of Rebels' final season, and how I think it kind of possibly already shaped what Dave and John are doing with the live action shows, or could provide some hints as to what the various shows like Ahsoka, Rangers, and of course our boy Din show, The Mandalorian, may feature down the road. Because at this point in time, and we've said it 1,000 times, Nick, there was so much left open at the end of Rebels with the character of Ezra and Thrawn, and the way that shit goes down, and how Ezra essentially directly ties Sabine into things, and then the Ahsoka save and her subsequent going back to her timeline, and then coming to find Sabine at the end of the war with the Empire. It's very important shit in Star Wars, in the Star Wars universe. It's stuff that needs resolved. And seeing it for a second time, and we said this before, how we even, right, Nick, we called our sources and verified that we're going to get live action Sabine and live action Ezra in the Ahsoka series, which is going to kind of pick up, I believe, their search for young Bridger. But anyways, again, so I finished the final 3 episodes, which is 13, 14, 15. As for 13, that is the World Between Worlds episode. And that one really, my friends, I think has a lot of maybe visuals that could tip us off to, as Nick and I said, that what's going to happen in Ahsoka. I mean, they've made it very clear that the Ahsoka series is in some form or fashion going to include the world between worlds. I mean, her freaking logo is that world. It's the aesthetic, just seeing it again, all the art that was painted on those cave walls. And when Ezra and Ahsoka were in the world between worlds, I mean, it's 100%. That show is going to touch on that concept. So you got to watch that episode. But Nick, some of the things that kind of stood out, obviously you get a recap and maybe even a better, or kind of the Cliff's Notes explanation of the protectors of Mortis, which are the father, the son, and the daughter. All right, so son represents the dark, daughter represents the light. Remember, she more or less sacrificed herself to save Ahsoka back in the Clone Wars. And then you had the father who brought balance between his two kind of warring kids. Well, obviously, only one kid was an asshole, right? The dark side guy. Yeah. But anyways, they're kind of the gatekeepers to the world between worlds, and they figure some of that shit out. Or Ezra through Sabine, who, again, those two... Not only could it be a sexual connection, at least in Ezra's eyes, I believe he's always wanted to, maybe get a little Han Solo and Princess Leia-like with Sabine. But she becomes very intertwined with Ezra. They both do, really, towards the end of season 3 and season 4. Him helping her out in Mandalore, and then obviously those two, what they experience at the cave and so on and so forth. But I think one of the biggest keys here that Ezra is going to be a big part of the Ahsoka series comes after he pulls Ahsoka from season 2 timeline back into season 4 in the world between worlds, Nick. And what she says to him, they're talking about Morai, who is there. Again, Morai kind of tips off Ezra, like, this is why you're here. This is the portal you need to go through. This is why Doom the Wolf, who is essentially Kanan in animal spirit form, told you to come here. They need you to do this. The Force wants you to do this. Morai, again, we always know Morai represents Ahsoka because of what happened with the daughter and all that fun stuff. But once he pulls her out, she explains to Ezra, she goes, Ezra, this is Morai. She saved my life. I owe my life to her, just like I now owe my life to you, Ezra. I think that's huge. Yeah. And I think it plays into, obviously, the end where we see Ahsoka all, essentially Gandalf the whited out. I believe, and maybe we'll see this in the live action Ahsoka, the moment he dumped her back into the season 2 timeline, she essentially started to prepare for what was to come with, she knew about Kanan's choice, but I think she also knew that Ezra, too, was going to have to make a very similar choice to Kanan, and that he was going to have to sacrifice himself. Maybe not in final death, but he had to sacrifice himself at a specific time to save his friends and the galaxy. Okay? So I think her essentially pledging a life debt to Ezra is huge. Right? I mean, Nick, that has to mean we're going to see some resolution with the character of Ezra in live action form in the Ahsoka series.
Yeah. I mean, I think even without that was going to happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, for geniuses like us,
those characters.
I break this down for the Star Wars fans that aren't as astute as you and I at predictions, at speculations, and of course that source you have that told us that we're going to get live action Ezra in the Ahsoka series, and probably live action Sabine. We don't. Yeah, it's almost it's a guarantee. Like, it's not almost a guarantee. It's a guarantee. I think what could even be cooler is, does Ahsoka go back and do something to try to help Kanan? Like, can she stop that death from happening as well, knowing that it happens? I can answer that because she specifically cuts that notion off in the world between worlds, because Ezra, he's still a young kid. He just saw what he could do with Ahsoka. So what do you think he's immediately thinking?
Like, I gotta go save my boy.
Exactly.
My
I just lost my master in one of the most horrific yet heroic ways. It was a shock to all of us. We weren't ready for it. Even though if you watch the episode, you can see that Kanan is preparing himself for death. To me, it's very similar to probably what Obi-Wan was going through when he ran into Luke and knew he was going to end up on the Death Star. He knew what he was going to do, just like Kanan knew he probably wasn't coming out of that mission to save his lady love. And yes, It's still highly emotional. Not as bad as the first time you watch it, because you know it's coming. But I was sitting there, I was getting a little lip quivery, like, oh, it's coming. But because of my little kid and how she has shamed me, I literally am now scared to cry or show any Star Wars emotion in front of her. So, like a good man, a manly man, I choked it all back this time. All right. I did not let any of the tears flow, but my God, still a beautiful Star Wars moment. Some other things in the World Between Worlds episode. You get and like I said, to Nick's point, this is foreshadowing, but also to answer Nick's question, well, maybe Ahsoka tries to save Kanan. She explains to Ezra, as they're looking through a portal, like, listen, kid, I know what you want to do. But if you save Kanan at this exact moment, you all die, so you no longer exist. So it's made pretty clear, at least in that sense, that Kanan 100% died at the perfect time, did it at the most perfect way, and it cannot be changed.
Do you think we still get Freddie Prinze Jr. in ghost form?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Kanan's gone altogether, because they also make it clear in the final few episodes that Kanan, while he might not have become one with the Force and became a Force ghost, because obviously he didn't know the training or the trick, but they make it 100% clear that Kanan becomes one with the Loth Wolf. He is Doom the Wolf, essentially. I mean, even at the end of episode 14, where Ezra's kind of come to terms with it all, and he lets Hera know, like, yeah, hey, the temple is now sunk. Kanan, he is gone for good now. But he sees the wolf in the distance and says, "See you, Kanan." I think Kanan too can still come back. Maybe not in full on Force Ghost, but obviously, we'd love to hear Freddy's voice in any of these live action series. But at the same point, Nick, I guess I never saw this before, because clearly I didn't know it was coming. But having Ezra watch what Kanan did 100% prepared him for the decision that he had to make in the finale, which, and if you look at it visually, he does the same thing, except instead of an exploding fuel station, he's using the Force to combat stormtroopers and Thrawn to make sure the Purgils can keep Thrawn kind of wrapped up, so he can remove the entire Empire fleet from the skies of Lothal. He's doing the same thing. Like I said, he's not fighting fire, but he's fighting other forces and essentially sacrificing himself. Another interesting thing, World Between Worlds, and I assume we may see this in Ahsoka, was Palpatine's desire to use it, and the fact that he could not walk through it himself without Ezra's help. But dude, I forgot all about this. He was shooting like blue Sith flame that in turn turned into like a fucking get over here grappling hook on Ezra. So an odd Sith ability that I kind of forgot all about. And you know how I've been sitting here bitching about, why did Ahsoka need saved? We saw her walk away at the end of that episode. Well, I'm an idiot. And in time travel, what we saw was essentially Ezra and Ahsoka closing that loop. So you saw that happen,
right?
Then. So what we see,
like you just didn't know
exactly
what it was.
What we see at the end of season 2, when Ahsoka's kind of hobbling, walking down that pathway. She's hobbling because of what her and Ezra just had to survive in the World Between Worlds, and her running away from Palpatine's fire and Ezra running away from Palpatine's fire, and she jumps back into her timeline, and she's a little banged up. She got tagged, I think, by the fire a bit. So yes, I'm an idiot. It all makes sense now. It is a valid use of time travel. So I apologize to the time gods. What else we have here? I think Hondo, and I'm going to bring him up because our fan question of the week, we got a bunch of mentions. But Hondo says something in episode 14 that really, I think, finally, in my mind, finalizes him as a more good guy than bad guy. Hondo is a unique character. He is sort of, he did start pretty bad in the Clone Wars. He did some shady shit in Rebels, and then, I think he was in some of the Lego stuff. But he was never just a true bad or a true good. But in episode 14, while people are going out trying to gather forces for Ezra, who is essentially the de facto leader at this point, Hondo says something like this. Basically, I will do anything for that kid. And I found that to be a refreshing and sort of surprising line from a character like Hondo. But I think that's why we love him so much, right? Like, he is very unique.
Yeah. I mean, Hondo is one of those characters that just kind of, he always plays in the middle ground, and he's a pirate and everything like that. And it's not like he ever wants to do anything. I don't think he aims to do anything bad. Like, he's not out there saying that he's gonna, go steal from the rebels and he
just wants
himself.
To get his. He just wants to get paid.
He's literally like he's like the definition of a pirate. Pirate's not necessarily a bad person unless you are the government or the the big whatever the country that they're stealing from. They're just doing their own thing. Like he's never been like a marauder. He's never been somebody like like Cad Bane who was kind of more of a bad character than a good character.
Yeah, totally.
Even though bounty hunters kind of play in that gray area too sometimes. More often than not, they are.
I mean, look at our guy. Our guy Din kind of started as a scumbag. I mean, he went as far as leaving Grogu with the client until he was like, all right, I'm not a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why Disney chose to make Hondo one of the faces of Galaxy's Edge.
He is. He's just a fun character. They're not going to put up. He really is. And
and he was also in Resistance too, I believe. Like he was, was he? I think he was. I think he was in Resistance.
I know the dude's been throughout the generations. Yeah, and like you said, the fact that he's a face at Galaxy's Edge means he's made it through the sequel trilogy, I would say. But no, he really is just a fun character. And I guess I forgot overall how much of a role he played in really shaping Ezra throughout Rebels. Because, I mean, they linked up, I believe, all the way back in season 1, and they had at least an episode or two together in most of the seasons. Just kind of wrapping this Rebels thing up and its importance on really the final few episodes of Rebels and its future impact on these upcoming live actions and fingers crossed, hopefully some sort of quasi-Rebel sequel down the road. But I think things of note that are interesting. Sabine ends up with Ezra's lightsaber. All right? I think that's something to keep in our back pockets. He gave it to Chopper first, and this was a moment I forgot, and I thought it was awesome. It almost made me cry a little bit, but they're all planning. They know they're fucked. The Thrawn just out-strategized them, as usual. He's got Lothal completely under siege with 3 Star Destroyers, the Chimera being his, and they're fucked. And they're trying to figure out a plan that does not entail giving up Ezra, which is what Thrawn wants. So as Hera, being the mom, the general, she's sitting there planning. Rex is planning. They're all planning. But you can see in the background that Ezra knows deep down. He's like, this is it. This is my moment. This is what Kanan prepared me for in Ahsoka. He looks to Chopper and Sabine. And both of them kind of give him the nod like, we got you. And they provide a distraction so he can slip away. But I just everyone keep that in the back of their mind. Sabine has Ezra's lightsaber. I don't think that was by coincidence. And I think it's something we could see pop up in Ahsoka. The other interesting thing that I forgot about is that Ezra, just like Luke, but after many ass kickings that Luke had to take and learn his lesson, Ezra, without such ass kickings, refused a very, very, very tasty offer from Palpatine. Just like Palpatine was, kind of dangling the thing over Luke, like, join me, we'll be powerful, we'll kick some ass. Palpatine to Ezra was offering Ezra a chance to return to a time where his parents were alive. And obviously he was showing him the visions, and Ezra was feeling it. But just at the last moment, you might have, just as Luke was sitting there like, ha, ha, channeling that dark side, trying to murder his father, you could see in Ezra, just like in Luke, something clicked. And he's like, you know what? Fuck you. I got everything I need. I got my family now. Blah! And just like fucking force explodes the remaining Lothal temple that Thrawn had in the Chimera. So I thought that was an interesting mirror of kind of how Luke went with Palpatine and obviously Ezra. And now that Connor reminded me that Ezra truly is basically the same age as the twins, I think that was impactful.
Yeah. I mean, basically every Star Wars hero has to go through something with Palpatine.
I just thought it was
like Anakin, Ezra, right. Rey, Luke.
It was and Nick, maybe you can answer this because you're more of a Thrawn historian than I am. But when Thrawn brings Ezra to Palpatine is projecting himself as a regal-looking, like he looked like, Chancellor Palpatine before he smoked his own face and turned into Prune Man. Did he present himself always to Thrawn that way and not as Darth Sidious, or was that just for he was trying to do something to Ezra?
That was purely for Ezra. Right. I mean, in all of the interactions that you hear or that you read in the books, which, I mean, like, you only get a few direct interactions between Thrawn and Palpatine, but he is like in his robes. All right. And is how you would see him.
Is Thrawn fairly subservient to Palpatine, like my emperor and yes, my emperor, or
no? Okay. No, he was never like that. I mean, he may have used official titles and stuff like that, but he always looked at his business, his position in the Empire as purely like it was an earned position. He didn't feel like he was given anything that he didn't deserve from Palpatine, and it was a position of mutual benefit. Okay. Like he would even say sometimes, like, if there was ever a non-mutual benefit to me, then this was something that he was willing to just kind of step away from.
I mean,
and that's why
a lot. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, that's why some people think that, like, since Palpatine is dead and since the Empire is no more in the Mandalorian timeline and thus in the Ahsoka timeline, that Thrawn really doesn't have a reason to be loyal to the Empire anymore. In fact, more likely than not, if you kind of read the books and then the tea leaves and stuff like that, like, he would probably just go back to the Ascendancies, be like, all right, well, this shit's over, I'm going back. But it seems like they're trying to make him make that connection to the Empire stronger than it read to be in the books.
Yeah, because like what Nick's talking about, so he's talking about S2E5 of The Mandalorian, the Ahsoka episode. Throughout the episode, we learned that, what was her name? Morgana?
Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah, Morgan Elsbeth is essentially an agent of Thrawn and has been for decades. And what she's good at is going to planets and harvesting them for the Navy. So Nick is right. They did make it seem like Thrawn, he's been probably back for a while, and using his agent to call planets of resources to build up whatever, fleet he's been getting into. Now, is he still with the Empire? Is he just Thrawn and he has those who are loyal to him now and in his faction, just like there's the Gideon faction and some of the other factions we've seen in comics or video games? Who knows?
I kind of hope that they don't make it the Empire connection, because it would be more interesting to me if he has now kind of forsaken that and just be like, fuck that. Like, the Chiss are my home. They're my people. They are, the Ascendancy is my home. So I can use the resources at hand now for my own benefit, not for the benefit of a scrapped Empire that was defeated by Rebels.
Yeah, the reason I asked all this to begin with is I feel like in Rebels, and I could be making this up. This could be my subconscious playing tricks on me, but I swear he was like, "Oh, my emperor." And that's why I asked, because I was like, "This seems somewhat not Thrawn to me."
Yeah, I don't know if he was like putting on a show or something like that in front of Ezra to try to sell sell the Emperor's whatever, his godliness or whatever you would call it. But he wasn't like a subservient, like,
he wasn't like a Darth Vader, right? He wasn't like Darth Vader. Like, yes, sir, whatever you want, master. You can almost fucking kill me multiple times and I'll still suck your dick.
Yeah, no, like, to my recollection, he was never like that. It was more of a mutual benefit type of relationship. In fact, most people looked at the relationship between Thrawn and Palpatine as like, oh, well, this is why, that's why Thrawn has his position, because Palpatine likes him. Right. So it almost was the inverse, where like they just thought that Palpatine liked Thrawn for some reason, and that's why he was getting all his promotions.
I'd say he got all his promotions because he's a fucking master strategist,
he's a genius.
And knows how to fight and everything. But I mean, the intern is a huge Thrawn guy. He's been chiming up here in the live chat, and he's with you. He's saying it would make zero sense in all caps if Thrawn continued to be the bad guy for the Empire.
Yeah, it really just doesn't fit. Like, you would have to kind of see how it played out in the novels and stuff, but he was not. It's not like he was joining the Empire or was offered a position in the Empire and he was like, thank God you saved my life. Like, it was literally like a part of his mission for the Chiss expansionary.
Yeah, I mean, I would think, just based on Ahsoka's tone in Mandalorian, that even if he's not with the Empire, he's still doing some bad shit. Because I mean, clearly she took on an entire town to get to the mayor of said town to get that information. And at the end of the duel, it wasn't like, oh, hey, man, that Thrawn guy, how's he doing? She's like, where's Thrawn? Like, I want to fucking cut his head off.
That's what's interesting to me, because I wonder if she has information that he's still working for the Empire, or if it's just the fact that, like, he's back, which means Ezra's back, which means I have to get to him to get to Ezra. Because more likely than not, if he's back and he is just doing his Chiss thing and using Elsbeth as kind of like a funnel for resources to the Chiss, he would be like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not trying to fuck with you, Ahsoka. Like, I don't care what you do. I don't care what your
with you.
It's upstart just rebellion
based
does,
on what we were given. They are painting it as he's potentially still Empire based, still using Morgan and other people like that to, build war machines. But who knows?
I think if that showdown eventually comes, it's going to be like, Thrawn's going to be like, he's not going to try to fight her. It's going to be like, I'm not interested in your politics anymore. Like, now that the Empire has fallen, I've gone back to my people.
And that's the other thing, Nick. I don't know if you already knew this or you forgot like I did, but going through Rebels, Ahsoka has no interactions with Thrawn. Ahsoka's she's essentially taken off the map at the end of season 2. She's gone for all season 3. Almost all of season 4, has about 5 to 10 minutes, and she's right back to the season 2 timeline. So I do think her drive to find Thrawn is related to the Ezra stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's anything. I don't think she's hunting him because he's part of the remnant or he's somebody like Gideon. Right. Like, it is purely based off of, like, if you're back, he's got to be back, and you can tell me where he is.
And I'm with you. And this will just kind of wrap, because some of the final points I got from the last episode here, the finale, the Purgle attack. I forgot how impressive it was. I mean, literally, they call in all these space whales and just fucking ramrod an entire Imperial blockade. And then they come down into the atmosphere, ramrod Thrawn's thing, wrap it up, and they pull it out. I did verify the windows 100% were fucking broken. Thrawn.
Yeah. So they would be
Thrawn is completely like tentacled up, getting anacondaed, like basically squoze to death, if that works. And Ezra was using his force to keep Thrawn engaged with the Purrgil and keep any stormtroopers from shooting him again, because he did take a shot in the back from Thrawn in the shoulder.
Yeah, so these motherfuckers they would be dead if it wasn't for Ahsoka's world between worlds.
I think and here we again, it's science fiction, it's a cartoon. I think we're going to have to suspend our beliefs on this here, because I believe Ezra's moment is the same as Kanan. So if Ahsoka comes back and takes Ezra out, then Thrawn remains on Lothal. The rebellion doesn't have that early win that jumpstarts the other rebel cells to really start bringing the pain to the Empire. So and I'm with you. I kind of thought the same way. Ahsoka, the logo, World Between Worlds, that's how she's going to save Ezra. I'm starting to think that maybe they can't use it for that because of what they set up with Kanan.
Thrawn's back. So how would you bring one back without the other then? So like Ezra can still die, but Thrawn
I'm with you. If Thrawn's back, Ezra's back. There's no doubt in my mind. I just think us trying to use real life physics, and we are correct. You would think they're dead, but we're also talking about whales that invented hyperspace or knew about hyperspace before humans. So who knows what sort of trickery and physics they do when they have a Star Destroyer essentially shoved up their assholes and then they hit a hyperspace lane.
True.
Or maybe they don't even fully hyperspace. Maybe they're more like, sorry to bring up Star Trek, but in Discovery, they literally just like teleport, like they spin and they're at a whole other part of the galaxy. So maybe it was something like that where air doesn't even matter. They're just, bloop, see ya.
Yeah, could be something like that.
And the final thing here is Ezra makes it clear to Sabine, I am counting on you. And she even sits there during the epilogue, Nick, and she's talking about, she's like, I thought when he first said that he was counting on me, it was to, to win the war, save Lothal, all this stuff. But she's like, now that I've been thinking about the war's won, I think he was counting on me to find him. And that's where you get the end where she finishes the painting. She's all grown up. She's got her hair shaved. And, Ahsoka the White shows up. And without them speaking words, what exactly they're about to do. They're setting off. And really, I mean, that's where the Ahsoka show could
literally pick up right
exactly
there.
They could go from an animated cell and wipe it, and bam, the live action, they just take off in that ship and here we go. They're not going to do that, but I really do think the Ahsoka is going to predominantly fill in those gaps between those two and their mission to find Ezra Bridger.
Yeah.
All right. And don't forget about Jason Syndulla. That's the last little bit.
Kiddo.
Don't forget about Jason Syndulla. He was not just shown for fun. I think it was 1/6 or somebody last week was speculating that, if there is a traditional Rebel sequel or like a side piece, Jason, Hera, Zeb, Callus would all be fantastic characters for that.
Yeah.
All right. So there's my Rebels rewatch. I highly recommend doing it for anyone that has hasn't watched it since its end in, 2018 or something. Especially if you have a little Star Wars fan in your house, it was well worth it. It became a nice little bonding moment. Hey, Dad, can we watch this? Anytime you get that from a little lady, it made me feel like not such a scumbag. Even though, sometimes on this cast, you've heard me and how I react to her when she forgets shit or this, that, and the other thing. I did like that clip speaking of clips, make sure to check us out on TikTok. We got Big Amish there running it. He's going to try to get a clip of the week up there at least once a week from the show. But he did pull a good one where I was explaining how I yelled at Charlie one night when she forgot why Darth Maul would be looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I'm working on that stuff as a human, as many other mental disorders that I have. The Rebels all the way.
At least don't yell at the kid about stuff. Yeah, I'm
trying. Hey, dude, even this morning, this is why I know I've already failed as a father at only, almost 5 years old. She comes in this morning, laughing. It's not like she's all sad. She's like, man, you really yell at mommy and me a lot. That's like, oh, fuck. I truly am just a mean guy. It's like, yeah, there are some times where I go off the rails. Those of you that know me in real life or have just known me through this show, you see there's some instability in the brain chemistry. So there are times where I definitely fuck up. But there are times in a relationship where sometimes, maybe I raising my voice is warranted at my lovely wife. But in my kids' eyes, it doesn't matter. I'm just a fucking mean yelling guy. Urgh! Like all she hears is urgh, urgh. It's like, go me.
Yeah.
Go me.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right, dude. So let's get into it. Thanks everyone for kind of let me get through that Rebel stuff. I really, it's a fucking great show. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if I just was one too many vapes or whatever when I watched it the first time, or watching it with my little girl kind of added some sentimentality to this viewing.
I think that was the key ingredient.
But it's like it's OT set. They use a lot of the Williams music. It really tugs on an OT fan's heartstrings, if you will.
Yeah. So in terms of real news, we don't have a ton this week, and we have a maximum of about 2 hours and 25 minutes left in this cast.
Yeah, got some real life shit to deal with. So here.
So we're gonna try to just get through stuff quickly and finish this bitch out, because really, in terms of Star Wars news this week and so far this year, there hasn't been a ton. So we'll kick it off with a piece of collecting news Matt dug up and had caused a bit of a not a stir, but some excitement perhaps in the collecting community. Is that right, Matt?
Well, I mean, I think it plays into the two-pronged discussion we had on the idea of a new KOTOR game. Our big discussion the first time we talked about this rumor or leak at this point. I mean, this is happening, my friends. Nick's sources told us.
Yeah.
But we were like, listen, it's either a brand new take on the game set in the era, or they're going to pretty it up. And it looks like at this point, it's going to be a pretty up job, right?
Yeah. And it's basically, from the developer. It's Aspire Media is the person, or not the person, the developer who's making the game, and all they do are remakes. They do remakes and they do mobile games. So,
which honestly,
100% a remaster.
I mean, if I was a developer, I'd be like, okay, I'd wear that badge of honor. I mean, you're always going to have work, right?
Yeah. I mean, especially with something like this, where you literally don't have to do you don't have to write anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to
just do all the technical
create
shit.
Any set pieces. Yeah. You just take whatever's there already, you remake the models, you redo the animations, and then you shit it out into the world. And honestly, like, this makes me less excited for it. I know that there are a ton of people who are like, oh man, this is all I wanted was KOTOR pretty again. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, I'll probably play it too, but I've played KOTOR enough.
You just didn't you just finish an iPad run or a PC run?
I finished a PC run of the game. I'm like, awesome. I played it again. I beat it again. I love this game. It's great, and I'm sure it's going to look great in the whatever engine that they're going to use for it. But I just don't like. Cool, man. Yeah, we get to play the same game again for the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time or whatever. I was just hoping for some more content, and it's the exact opposite that we're getting. We're getting no new content, and we're just getting pretty pictures. So,
and I hope, because I remember last time I was like, you know what? If it is just a reskin, fine, I'll take it. It would be nice to see this in a 21st century, or I guess the other one was 21st century, but the modern
2021,
modern engine visuals and mechanics, loading times, all that type of shit.
Yeah, and look, if they update the combat engine,
they best not touch that. I love that, just like plodding, slow combat where you're like whack, and then I want to zip, and then I want to
pause.
It's like go.
Yeah, like if they were to do something to it, I think it would get me more excited. But like, if they put this game out, Aspire Media presents the remaster of KOTOR, and it's a $69.99 game, I might not even buy it.
$69.99, no way.
Yeah, like there's no way you're going to get me to pay full price for a game that I played 20 years ago.
I mean,
that
Nick,
have recently finished a year ago.
Have you seen a $69.99 warranted game on the new consoles yet? No.
I haven't even, like, I paid. And it's so fucked up too, because the one game that I paid the full price for was Godfall, and that's probably the worst of the 3 games that I have.
I know, dude. You know what I'm playing on my Series X the most these days? Gears Tactics, which came out a year or two ago for PC, and Tetris Connected. Tetris Connected is the best.
Yeah, like Ghost is great on 60 FPS and stuff like that for the PS5, but it's like this is the problem. Like all of you who are upset about not getting new consoles yet, there's really no reason to be, because there's no games out for them. Like you can play anything on the old consoles.
Like I'll bring him up again since he's in here. But the intern, Mr. Tico, he's someone that like he may tell you now he wasn't FOMO, but trust me, when the new consoles were coming out, he was getting ready, getting there. You know, he got swatted down by the bots, this, that, and everything. But he, unlike me, was able to very quickly just be like, you know what, fuck it. I don't really need it anyways. There's nothing new coming out. I can wait until Horizon Zero Effort, whatever the fuck the next is going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's smart. I mean, I still feel like I have better tech than him because I got them both before he did. So I got that little stupid thing to hang my hat on, as some guys do with their tech. You know, it's like our penises or something. Like I got better tech than you. I got a bigger dick. You know, that type of shit.
Like here's an idea for all of you. I'm gonna if you want a new console, can't get one, here's what you do. Buy one of the new GTX 3000 supplied laptops. So you got a GTX or an RTX 3060 or whatever it is in there. Buy that laptop, and then that is better than any new console.
What does that laptop run you though? $5,000?
No, it's $1,200 maybe. Something. It's way more expensive, but then also you can play, like, you get the Xbox Game Pass on it, so you get all of the games that release on Xbox or whatever. Like, you can play any Xbox game you can play on an Xbox, you can play on a PC.
You can actually, Nick, I signed up for Games Pass finally. There are actually more titles available for PC than the consoles.
There you go. So the only thing that you won't be able to play are Sony exclusives. Yeah. Plus, you get access to the entire Steam library. So anything you want to buy on Steam, you can buy that. You can hook up whatever controller you want to it. You can plug it into your TV, and there you go. You got 4K gaming with a controller through a laptop. Plus, you can look up all of the pornography you want on it.
There you go. High-end 8K titties.
Yeah. So that's shit. That's what
I thought I had something important to say, but clearly I did not. So I'll go ahead and delete that thought and move on. But yeah, I mean, this game, if it's just a true remaster, do it right. I don't want any bullshit. Like I remaster it, but build it up from the ground back up. You can keep all the other shit. I don't know if you got to get the VO redone.
I mean, that's going to be the biggest hurdle is like, what are you going to do with the voiceover?
Yeah, because I would imagine that would probably need remix if you're truly going to bring everything to new standards like Dolby Atmos, 4K, HDR, all that jazz. But this is a title that, I mean, even saying 59 seems a little dirty. I'm thinking this is like a 40. This is like a fucking Squadron. Yeah, 39 to 49 type of game is where I would feel comfortable. And yeah, I'll fucking get this. There's no doubt. I mean, if it looks super pretty, if they've jazzed some of the other gameplay aspects up, 100%. Now, if they tried to change too much, I may let Nick fall on that grenade first and see what happens. But
I mean, I'll play it for sure. But
all right,
it's just not gonna ring the same as like an actual new game. It's just gonna be like, okay,
yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. It's a bit of a bummer. I definitely would have preferred something brand new. But as I said before, I'll take this too. It has to be priced appropriately, and there can't be too much fuckery in terms of what was changed. Try to keep it as close to the original, albeit in a 2021 presentation. Yeah. All right, sticking with games, we got another one here, and this wasn't even I guess it did come from some form of Reddit, who is now what their dick got so big after the stonk market that they took out a Super Bowl ad for Reddit, right?
They had a Super Bowl ad. It was a 5-second Super Bowl ad. I didn't watch Super Bowl. Like after the Saints leave the NFL,
you tune out.
Like after their, I just
I'm the same way. I threw it on just because it's a Super Bowl and it's something that people may talk about or might pop up in pop culture, and I'm a weirdo like that. Like I want to kind of be in the know, but I did not pay attention to it. Fuck Tom Brady. I'm saying that in the best form possible. I mean, I fucking hate him, but clearly respect the guy. I think he's a scummy human, but he's clearly the greatest fucking quarterback ever. I mean, you can't. And I'm a fucking diehard Steelers fan. That it gives me pain to say that, because that guy stole at least 2 Super Bowls from the Steelers when they weren't fucking idiots. But again, I respect the dude. And what he did to go in the fucking shitbag Tampa and running the table on the road in the playoffs. I mean, come on. And then just teabagging Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like, they made the Chiefs look pathetic.
Yeah, look.
It wasn't even a game. It was bullshit. Bad. But anyways, Reddit flexing. They're like, shit.
Yeah. So Reddit got their $250 million cash injection, and then on the Gaming Leaks subreddits r/gaming leaks and rumors, how you would spell it if you are from the UK. So if you don't know what that is, ask Tones. It has a U in it. Basically some person on there that nobody knows posted something and said, like, hey, my source, Day of the Tentacle sources, I have no fucking clue what that means, have confirmed to me that a new smaller scale shooter will be releasing in
I'm
Q4
assuming,
of 2021
Nick,
from
the
EA.
Day of the Tentacle sources would be like Lucasfilm Games people, right? Because isn't that a part of their portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be somebody from Lucasfilm Games. I don't know.
We got Jay Moore as a Pats fan. Jay Moore, go ahead, leave it in chat. But as a lifelong New England fan, did you like seeing that, or was that like watching yourself make out with your sister or something? Seeing Tom be successful when you guys were fucking terrible without him.
Yeah. But Day of the Tentacle was a game that released in '93 from LucasArts. So I'm
guessing they're saying, hey, we got an in, like Nick.
Inside Lucas.
Yeah, Nick has one too. He just doesn't call him the Day of the Tentacle source.
Yeah, I just call him Jeff.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, that's it. I don't cover up names. But I mean, again, this is a very unexciting announcement, and it just goes to show you how much EA has literally just shit on the Star Wars license. So instead of releasing something that's actually good, they're going to release a smaller scale.
Dude, you gotta parse this out for me, because I read this and I'm like, how did this not just get instantly deleted from Reddit? I mean, this is like some of the most wishy-washy source shit. I mean, this is like worse than KRT type of information. So
this is what it says.
Listen to this, people. Listen to this.
So this guy's name is Orca. Orca is not alone. This is what he says. He says EA is working on a small-scale Star Wars game that will release later this year. 1, game has been in the works for a little over 2 years. 2, much smaller scale project than something like Fallen Order, akin to Squadrons. 3, it's a shooter, but I'm not confident if it's a traditional FPS or...
That is my favorite. Like, if you're a fucking source, shooter, by the way, or you're leaking a source, never phrase something like that. Like, it's this, but it might not be, but it might, but it is, but it might.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what it is, basically. He says all he knows is that it involves gunplay. That is awesome.
Number 3 right there, if you're on the stream. That is some spectacular poo flinging and seeing if someone is going to let it stick.
Yeah. Number 4, will release in Q4 2021 for all major platforms, excluding Switch.
Sorry, Switch.
No Switch. And then it's being developed on Unreal 4. No idea when the trailer will drop. So, I mean, basically this guy's just guessing that a new FPS is going to drop. I mean, which...
Yeah, but he knows the day of the Tentacle people told him, so he's not technically guessing. He's just generalizing his prediction. This is I mean I guess I should have read this one closer, because I'm starting to feel bad for telling Nick to throw it up there, because it is fucking laughable if you read this shit. What's even more laughable, Nick, is that if we post something of ours up there from an actual leak or a source, it gets auto-deleted.
Yeah, it's like, bye, this doesn't count. But this got 1,256 upvotes and has almost 200 comments. I mean, here's the thing, is like, I don't doubt that EA would put up some bullshit like this, because clearly, like, they're in money grab mode. that's what Squadrons was. Squadrons was like, cash grab, $40, here we go. Got it from you, and then we'll never give you any more content.
We all know you hate Squadrons, but I actually do think the community that kind of took to it loves it, and they have gotten content, even though they said we would not get content.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said, is if it was successful enough, they would give them some stuff. So I know that you've gotten some cosmetic shit and everything like that. I just that's nice.
A much smaller scale project than something like Fallen Order. Okay, so what is it going to have? Like, is it just a fully multiplayer game? Is it going to have a little campaign and then all multiplayer? Is this
Yeah, I mean, what is this, like a fucking Star Wars battle royale?
Right.
Like, is that what it is? Like,
it doesn't fit anywhere, because you have the Battlefront license, which is essentially a small scale project, Ake and the Squadrons. I mean, what the fuck is Battlefront? It's shooting on maps. I mean, it's not like you got to design stories or large maps for people to explore.
I mean, fuck, at least the second one had some sort of story with it. The first one was literally multiplayer only, shoot.
I guess that was it. That's small scale Star Wars.
That's about as small scale and scale back as you can get, aside from them making you pay for all their fucking DLC in Battlefront 1. I don't know, man. Like, if this is true and this is real, it just goes to show you, like I said earlier, how much EA does not care about the Star Wars license. They're just
put
like
no thought towards
pooing out crap that they're like, whatever, this will take us 8 months to build because we already have all the models from Battlefront. We just got to put a different skin on them, and here you go. Now you got a Star Wars Battle Royale game. Have fun.
I'm with you, man. Like, I mean, it has to be a Royale. What other type of shooter could it be that's small scale?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, unless it's like a tactical shooter, like something like Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six Siege, but that just doesn't fit the Star Wars universe. Like a tactical FPS.
It would only work that way is if they busted out the Republic Commandos again, where you do kind of have class-based clones, and then you got to figure it out.
It would have to be Republic versus Empire, obviously, if you're doing a versus mode. If it's 5v5, it's got to be, like you said, Republic Commando Squad. And then it's something like Valorant, or it's something like Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six Siege, where it is 5v5. You're trying to plant a nuclear device somewhere, or whatever it is. Like, if that's the case and they're trying to move more into a competitive space, then by all means try it. But if it's I'll tell you this right now, battle royale games are dying. That's why there's only fucking one.
I would think so. Like, I mean, gaming has its fads, right? You remember in the mid 2000s, it was the music rhythm games. I mean, hell, I just busted out my Xbox 360 to show the little kid, Rock Band, let her beat on the drums and shit. But that shit was wild for about 2 to 3, maybe 4 years tops, and then just gone.
Yeah, like the tens were all MOBAs. Like, you saw everybody putting it. You had League of Legends, Dota 2, Heroes of the Storm. You had fucking Paragon and all these other MOBAs that have since failed. And there's literally 1.5 that still exists because Dota 2 is like on the downfall.
So it's League survived from that, right?
Yeah, League is the only one who still has a sustainable community of people that play it. I mean, Dota 2 is literally up and down, and like it gets huge news because it always has a massive prize pool for the international, but that's because its prize pool is basically all funded from the community. So like, they release all of these items in Dota 2 and then people buy them, and then
hey, we can have a tournament this year if you guys fork over more cash.
Yeah, if you pay for it, we'll give all that money to players.
Love publishers.
So I just don't think that Star Wars is going to move in that direction. I would like to see a competitive Star Wars game, but more than likely this is some rinky-dink BR that they'll release. Well, if that's the case, I hope it's fucking free.
Yeah, I was going to say, that would probably be the first battle royale I would at least check out. I mean, I remember Fortnite when it was Fortnite and not a battle royale, and then they're like, oh fuck this, let's just cash in on the PUBG.
They literally like were building out the survival, and they were like, well, we can just make the BR as something that people can play while we're still developing the real game.
It changed Epic as a company. Like, making that one choice changed, because I believe Cliffy B was still at Epic when they were talking about Fortnite.
He was making
right, and it was
the single player version.
It was just supposed to be where you build up defenses and then every night the fucking zombies come. I mean, it was like modern Minecraft. But then, PUBG's was starting to make a run with the Battle Royale, and they're like, hey, fuck it, let's pivot, and now they are the god. I mean, I would assume that does PUBG even have an audience now, or is it all Fortnite? I don't know, but
it's like PUBG is like, I'm sure it's still around, but like PUBG Mobile is more popular than the actual PUBG game.
It just, I know Fortnite is still the king because my little nephews, that's all they want. That's what they want to talk about. That's what they want to play.
And the thing is like, that's Fortnite actually kind of fucks Star Wars making their own BR because they have Star Wars characters in Fortnite. Right. So I don't know how that works. Like if they can do that, but I don't know, man. It's shitty, and like news like this just makes me happy.
This guy's summary really makes it sound shitty because it's like, okay, I have zero excitement for this when I feel like we should. I love shooters if they're done right. I mean, I've said this before, and I still need to play this year's version. Maybe, hopefully, it shows up on Game Pass at some point. But the Call of Duty campaigns are some of the most just stupid, over the top FPS fun out there. Like the missions are insane, the stories are insane, but it's good, fun, like FPS gameplay. I need that in Star Wars. I don't care if it's back to the Katarn days where you do some blasting and some first-person lightsabers. But to me, a good Star Wars shooter either involves a character like that, or like a Han Solo, a scoundrel smuggler, or a bounty hunter. I don't want fucking stormtroopers or generic rebel soldiers. Give us a main protagonist to rally around. But if it's small scale, like Nick's saying, I think he's dead on. I think it's going to be one of these F2Ps. It's going to look nice. It's going to have all the licensing, all the bells and whistles. But in the end, does it have any gameplay meat outside of just, jumping into a map and hoping you don't get butt fucked by a 10-year-old?
Like that's the thing is like now people or a lot of game developers have realized that the way to truly make money off of a game is not to sell it to people for $60.
Sell them stupid shit.
Is to literally give them the game for free.
Everything but their clothes and their emotes.
Yeah, like, oh, you like the game? Here, now you can buy this face that pops up over your head. Now you can buy these purple pants.
And Nick, like you and I'm even older than you. I look at that shit and I'm like, what? How dumb? But I even remember back in the mid 2000s, like in Gears, if I could get a gold skin gun by playing, I was getting that fucking gold skin gun. So I totally get.
Because it makes you feel like you have. Well, when you play to get it,
exactly.
It makes you feel like
it's a little different now, where you just like if you're.
This is buy it. It's like okay, and if that's fine. Like look at it this way, fucking. Like League of Legends is a free-to-play game. That game made over $1 billion last year. Last year alone, over $1 billion. And all they do is sell skins. That's the only way they make money. I mean, is they sell.
Think about the access you get though when it's free-to-play, multi-platform with the added bonus of crossplay. It's just
like if you
it's wide open. Your client is wide open. Anyone has access to it that knows how to hit download and install. And then once you get in, like Kung Fu's saying right here, you can trick kids to spend $2,000 on their parents' credit cards.
Yeah, it's the perfect way to do it. So, I mean, if it's a BR, fine. Like, if it's not a BR, then I don't know what the fuck they're wasting their time on.
What's a small-scale shooter that isn't a battle royale? It doesn't make sense unless, that one year when COD just went full multiplayer where it still had traditional multiplayer game types, and its battle royale aspect.
Because that was the last Call of Duty game that I played was Black Ops 3, and the only reason I got it was because, and this was before crossplay was available, was because two of my friends back home in Louisiana, like that's their game, like they play COD, and I was like, all right, man, well if y'all want to play the BR, I'm down. I'll get it. I'll play the BR. And we played it a lot. Like we played the BR a lot.
There's always that, right, Nick? Like maybe this comes out, this small scale, it's a shooter, but I'm not confident it's a traditional first person shooter, third person shooter. It just involves gunplay game comes out, and it does kind of get that community feel to it. Yeah, it might be fun to play, but
like honestly, like if it is a BR, I'll tell my friends at home, like, hey, if you guys want to pick this up free,
let's try it.
Let's just play it, because like I got a PS5, they're Xbox people, but now crossplay is a thing, so I can play wherever I want. I'll play it on my fucking PC if I want to, and we can go at it, and then I don't have to drop $70 on a fucking game that is literally one map, and you do the same shit over and over again.
I'm glad Sony finally kind of got off their high horse and was like, yeah, we'll do crossplay, because they were one of the last platforms to come to terms with that change in the business model, which, I mean,
Microsoft kind of forced themselves into it. Like they bit themselves in the ass when they're like, well, I guess our PC players can play with our Xbox players now, because all of our Xbox games
in the end,
PC.
it's the right move either way. I mean, you don't necessarily scare potential players away anymore, because they know, hey, if my buddy has a Sony and he does get a game that's crossplay, I'll be able to play it too. Maybe they'll buy more consoles, less who knows? But it's the way to play. You might as well fucking share it. It's not like there's this homogeneous set of PCs out there that all connect together. I mean, there's so many Franken builds and this, that, and the other things. Like, why not? Why not let the consoles talk too? All right, so we'll, we'll keep you up to date on this small scale. It may be a shooter, but maybe not an FPS or a third person. It just has gunplay game.
It's just guns. It's just guns flying.
That's my favorite bullet point there. All right, so it's comic book time. If you have not read the most recent issue of the proper Star Wars comic, that's what I'm going to cover now, and then I'm going to go into issue 2 of the High Republic comic. I'm not going to do like a full word-for-word recap here, because really some of these are starting to get, I don't want to say excruciating to get through. It's just like, man, this used to be fun. Like, I used to have fun doing this, and then I want to jump on YouTube and talk about something interesting I learned canon-wise. But so far in issue 11 of the proper Star Wars run from Marvel, we're still not there yet, Nick. It's still not there. Like, I don't know if I'm missing my boy Luke or some Force talk, but all this shit dealing with the Rebels versus Zara is just not that interesting.
Not doing it. Yeah. Not
so out of this issue, and this will just kind of go to show you, my big new canon revelation from issue 11 is the fact that Princess Leia nearly killed Lobot to get a new Rebel code language processed.
Yeah, I remember we talking about that a little bit on the last one. Yeah, well,
episode 10, we learned that Lobot had dreads, and they needed him to talk to this ancient droid, but it was essentially sapping his life force. But they still needed it. They needed the droid because Starlight Squadron is lost. They can't be talked to. So Leia, and honestly, in a very surprising move, I mean, I guess we got to figure she had to make some choices like this in her life, but we just never saw her act this way. But I'm not going to lie, Nick, I was somewhat turned off to how cold and calculated Leia was towards Lobot and Lando.
Yeah, I mean, in war, you got to fucking do that.
I know.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
Just
man.
Like I said, it seemed out of character for the princess. It seemed like she should have called in Cassian Andor if he was still alive to do something like this, because it was fucked up. I mean, Lando, Lando, all the bravado he has. I mean, he was literally like, "Listen, motherfuckers, you guys are gonna murder this dude. Like, he's my boy. I just told you how he saved me, and I'll do anything to save him."
You know what I would have been like if I was Leia? It's like, oh yeah, well, you just gave my fucking future husband up to Darth Vader, so go fuck yourself.
Yeah. But with this also,
I feel no sympathy.
You are right. But with this highlighted again, and I've been saying this as I've gone through this run, is Lando had zero love for the rebellion, and they really weren't feeling him quite yet. And this is post Empire. They've already gone back to Bespin together to get some shit that they left there after they had to run out. So, I mean, Lando and Lobot, they've been with the Empire probably for a good amount of time, but he's just not feeling them. And clearly what Leia just did pushed him over the edge, because as we learned towards the end of this comic, Nick, and I teased this before, but Lando all along has been talking with Bib Fortuna in the Hutts.
Yeah.
Because
feeding them.
Yeah, guess what? I mean, they also have a bounty out on his ass, just like his buddy Han. So, I mean, unlike Han, who was like, you know what? I love this girl. She's fucking hot. She's rich. I'm going to link up with these people for now. Plus, every time he tries to leave and pay the slug, the Empire fucks it up. But Lando, he was like, fuck it. Hey, I got a debt to pay. What type of weight can I get from the rebels to shift over to the Hutts? So last issue, I mean, he knew about this new language they're trying to develop, but he wasn't giving anything up to Bib. But by the end of this issue, after what happened with Lobot almost getting killed, no, my friends, Lobot lived. C-3PO was able to figure out how to process the language without the old robot, so yay. But at the end, Lando's pretty much like, you know what? Fuck these guys, Lobot. We know one thing for sure. The Rebel Alliance is not looking out for us. So he calls up Bib and says, hey, buddy, remember what we talked about? Well, I may not have the coded language, but I can get you the droid that built it for them. So it kind of, the issue ends with a cliffhanger that Lando and Lobot are going to smuggle away this ancient droid and sell it off to the Hutts so they can learn the Rebels' new, essentially, codes.
Okay.
That's about it. I mean,
man, his turn really has to happen fast. Like,
I know, because
to the
it's kind of shocking. Maybe this is still the first year period after Empire, because by the time we come back to Jedi, Lando has embedded himself into Jabba's palace guardsmen. Like, that's how far deep undercover he went for this shit to save Han. He led a battle at the Battle of Tanev. He was a general. Or maybe he wasn't a general yet. Remember, that's what got him promoted. So yeah, you're right. I mean, who knows what happens? I'm assuming the comics are eventually going to bring Lando back into the fold to where he understands that the Rebel Alliance is the home for him. That's really the most you get out of this. I mean, you learn that Poe's mommy kind of gets herself into trouble. You get a Poe mention. But outside of that was the really main new canon to come out of the issue 11 of the Star Wars run from Marvel is Leia's she's an ice queen when she needs to be, and she will take things as far as she needs to take them for the Rebel Alliance. That Lando felt that ice, and even though he wasn't quite feeling the Rebels before that, he is 100% turned off to their cause right now and is looking to do them harm. All right. Yeah, I really think those were the big things we got out of there. But as always, I do full-on videos for these deals outside of what we talk about on the podcast. So make sure you are subbed to the Star Wars Time Show on YouTube. Search Star Wars Time Show on YouTube or head on over to starwarstime.net. Scroll around and you will find our subscribe button.
Indeed.
All right, so
I don't know how many subscribers we have now.
We're over.
We
hit like 720.
There we go.
Yeah, I really want to get to.
We almost have 100,000 views. We're only 100 and quick math here. 53. We're 153 views away from having 100,000 views on our channel. There we go.
I'll take that. There's a lot of work that goes into not a lot of views. I think if you average it out, we're probably getting about, I don't know, 100 views of it for the fucking 8,000 videos I've uploaded.
I don't know how many videos we have.
I don't know. I do them. It's a weird thing. It's a FOMO thing, but it really, a lot of it is something to talk about on the show for the most part. And sadly, Nick, it looks like we are going to get High Republic and Star Wars propers releasing the same week. So this is going to suck for a while. Because guess what? I got another one to talk about. And it's not this one. It's issue 2. What the hell am I doing? Let me pull up the proper article. Here we go. Yeah, with our boy Skier. I do like this guy. Master Skier. I'm thinking I'm digging him.
Trandoshan Jedi, man. You don't see it often.
He looks like a beast. Like, I mean, the Trandoshans, we've seen them in a lot of the animated series. They have different builds here and there, but they usually are kind of hulking characters. Skier is a boss. Like, he's got to be one of the most burly looking Jedi of all time. But anyways, Star Wars The High Republic issue 2 did drop last week. It's out there now. You should be able to grab it, definitely on digitals. I don't know about in stands. I would assume at this point, I think the High Republic buzz has worn off for most people. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the most exciting era in Star Wars that I've come across yet, but I've also barely dabbled in the real book and have only read 2 comics so far. But unlike the Vader and Star Wars breakdowns I do, where I just really look for new canon, and I'm not necessarily doing a review, these High Republics, I am kind of taking more of the review approach to it. So issue 2 was still quite interesting. I really like the mystery that's being woven around Skier. I would assume people like you or people that have read some of the other books may know more about what is going on with this dude behind the scenes. It seems like something at the Battle of Kerr really fucked him up, like when he lost his arm. But he's having some Anakin Skywalker on Tatooine moments in Attack of the Clones is the best way I can describe kind of what Skier's doing in issue 2 here. He's clearly not one with the Force. He's not acting like a Jedi Master, and he's doing some fucking shady shit in terms of how he is treating the enemies they come across. So anyways, Nick, in this issue, Keeve, she's kind of the point of view. She's our heroine, if you will, Keeve Trennis. I am digging Keeve. I think when this is all said and done, you're always going to have your just angry Star Wars fans who are always going to think the High Republic is a waste of life and stupid and whatever, PC, all this bullshit. I do think Keeve is going to be one of the more memorable High Republic Jedi. Because to me, she's a mix of Qui-Gon, Kenobi, and maybe a little of not fucked up Skywalker, right? Like you can tell she's not just the stuffy stoic Jedi, like, oh yes, I'm one with the Force is with me, that bullshit. You can tell that she respects authority, but questions it. She just doesn't feel she's at a place where she can actually say something at this time. I don't know. I'm just digging her, even though she didn't really get a lot of time in the sun in this issue. We also meet, and tell me if you've met these people in the books, but the twins, Tarek and Sarit.
No. I mean, I'm halfway through. I haven't read any more since last week. I'm halfway through, and honestly, you don't even meet Keeve.
Okay.
You don't meet Skier. I mean, like, you meet a lot of Jedi, but you don't. It's only the Jedi that were, at this point where I've gotten to, it's only the Jedi that were sent to the Hetzel system to try to save it from this disaster. So like a lot of the more, I guess you would say, like the Jedi who were kind of on the exterior of that system, you haven't met yet.
So anyways, I bring these two up. To me, they sort of have a dyad-like bond, meaning that they're full-on twins, but they're not just lookalikes. Like they can. Sarit can sense Tarek's thoughts, but they can also feel shit physically through the Force.
See, that's similar to like a Killick bond that you would see before. But I guess it makes sense, because like if you're twins, I mean, just imagine the increase in sensitivity. Because Jedi can already feel other Jedi's emotions, even if they're completely unrelated.
And they are the full-on annoying twins. Like, they finish each other's sentences. I mean, even Keeve's making thoughts like, man, I like these guys, but they're fucking annoying. It's like you never know which one you're talking to, because they look the same, but they also are essentially passing conversations to each other. But anyways, really, what goes down this issue is they respond to a distress signal, and they come upon a vessel that is just fucked up. Okay. Beyond what you typically see in the Star Wars universe, and they breach it, they board it. It's been gassed, and you learn that it's the Nihil. And this is where you start to learn about the type of people that the Nihil are. Apparently, Nick, these people, before they even raid a vessel, gas it out. Like, just fucking gas it out. Try to wipe out as many people as possible, then come on and slaughter them all. So the Jedi get there, they realize this, but they figure out they're on a Hutt vessel, which at this point in the galaxy is curious to be in this sector, right? Because the Outer Rim just kind of came online, from my understanding.
Yeah. Like there weren't hyperlanes open from the core worlds to the Outer Rim yet.
So there's a line in it, and maybe it's explained more in the books. We'll get there someday if Nick finishes it. But they essentially say, like, while the Hutts are technically allowed to trade in this space now, it's odd that they're trading in essentially barley. And we learned that this substance is used to make Bacta, which at that point in time was brand new. So there's a little Easter egg you got. Before Bacta, I guess the galaxy was using something called Rejuve. But Bacta was like a miracle cure that just started popping up during the High Republic. So anyways, this Hutt vessel just gets wasted. There's a big dead Hutt. I mean, he's like, the Nihil like slashed him, shot him up. I mean, they're clearly some fucked up individuals.
Dude, like I said last week, they're like the Reavers right? from Firefly.
Yeah, I mean, and this kind of gets Skier in trouble down the road when he calls them animals to Avar, and she's like, "Yo, dude, chill the fuck out. We're Jedi. You don't demonize the enemy. You know, you can tell Avar is the very." Yeah. She's the hubris type of dummy Jedi that led to a couple more 100 years of that way of thinking that ultimately got them fooled by the Sith, right?
Yeah.
So they get there and you know, Skier and one of the twins are investigating and boom, a shot rings out and I think it's Tarek takes a hit and Skier's like, rah, rah. I'm telling you, this guy's fucking whacked out. And they realize that there's a leftover Nihil. So, you know, Skier goes looking for it. He's like, why can't I sense you? He's getting fucking pissed. Like, pissed. Dark side Anakin, like Vader before the armor type of angry. He sees the Nihil jumps at him, just cuts him in half. They're like, all right, well, you know, he was being attacked. I guess that's okay.
Yeah, it calls
But here's where shit goes off the rails. After the dude's already cut in half, Skier stands over him, and as I say in the video, slashes him to pieces, just like we saw Kylo beating up command consoles in The Force Awakens. It was just like unhinged mutilation of a dead Nihil by a Jedi Master. All right. Wow. So, like I said, one of the reasons I'm keen to the comic here is because of this mystery surrounding Skier. Like, why is the Jedi Master exhibiting dark side tendencies? Some would argue even crazier than dark side tendencies. I mean, I don't remember a time where Vader, Palpatine, or Maul killed something and then proceeded to mutilate its carcass.
Yeah, they never really. I mean, of course, they revel in the defeat of their enemies, but they don't like destroy the body.
No, I mean, he was acting like me when I lose my temper shooting toys. Like just throwing motherfuckers, breaking shit, anything in my path is getting fucked up. That's what Skier was doing.
Yeah, it's definitely like I know that they probably haven't brought it up yet in the comics, but you mentioned in the first comic that he had like organic matter.
Well, he's lost an arm, and it's not in the first comic. They fuck the tease or they spoil it by showing like issue 4's cover, and you can see there's like organic material that looks like trees and shit growing out of Skier's arm.
So he's definitely infected with this Fenrir. Okay, so
I'm getting there, and that's part of the mystery, obviously. So leave it at that. But I mean, they make it clear to the reader that something's not right with this guy, and it goes back to the Battle of Kur where he incurred the injury. And it looks like, I don't know if he was in a starfight or what, but something just comes in and severs his arm right at the shoulder. Like it's just fucking gone. But luckily he's Trandoshan, and I guess they grow back anyways over time. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess they're like lizard people.
Makes sense. I mean, he talks like this. Tail. Like, I'm Master Skier and Sarret and Tarek. Yeah. But anyways, Keeve kind of stumbles upon this little mutilation party he's having. Her being his former apprentice, but because she is a newly knight, he's a master, they're kind of like, hey, okay, I didn't see it. That type of shit. Like, what just happened here? I don't know. Nothing, boss. You're good.
Like, what? There was something
You're good,
else.
master. No problems here. And she's like, oh, fuck, we're all going to die. But anyways, they call back to the beacon. They talk with Avar. She lashes out at Skier, like I said, for the Nihil, they're animals. Like he's still charged up, Nick. And she's like, calm the fuck down. That's not what a master would do. And he's like, damn it, you're right. What the hell's going on? But anyways, like most Jedi masters, or I don't think she's a master yet, but like most Jedis with great amounts of hubris, she's like, fuck that. I'm still going to send you to this planet to investigate why that barley plant was on this Hutt trading ship. Take one of the twins with you. So she sends a completely unhinged Jedi master on a mission with another Jedi, right?
That is not
right.
Safe.
They land on this planet. They're talking to these people, and the people want nothing to do with the Jedi. They're like, "Hey, Jedi, nice to see you, but get the fuck out of here." So something shady's going on this planet where this barley material is going from, and we see towards the end that I think it's Sarek gets called into the fields by something. The Force. He sees a Rodian. He walks in, and lo and behold, this big tentacle thing comes out. And they cut back to Kiev, but you get the picture. Something just attacked Sarek because his boy Tarek, who's still with Kiev and Avar, he feels the pain. Like he's like, that's that dyad thing I was talking about. And that's where Avar and Kiev kind of talk, and Avar's like, Kiev, you got to tell me this shit if Skier's going off the rails. He's like, it truly is my fault for sending on the mission. I should have noticed that. I should have sensed that he is not centered right now
himself.
But then it flashes back to Skier. Like she's like, Skier, check on Sarek, check. And he runs through the fields, and lo and behold, all that's there is a lightsaber. And that's where things end. So like I said, I'm digging the comic version of the High Republic, mostly because of the mystery around Skier. I like the character of Kiev, even though some of you nuts are mad that she used a lightsaber on an organic something, and that shouldn't work. I don't know.
This just.
But I'm digging it because they're like slow dripping the Nihil and their atrocities. They're slow dripping some dark side shit that's going on with Skier, and they're also establishing a Jedi Knight kind of wanting to become her own Jedi in the universe. So I'm definitely going to be sticking with the High Republic comics. I just wish they released on a different cadence than the actual Star Wars run.
Yeah, that would be better if they kind of staggered it, at least a 1 week stagger. But yeah, I mean, I haven't read the comics yet. I have to finish the book. I know that Spencer said he finished it, or he finished his listen through of it. And there's a couple of other people in the Discord as well that finished it, I believe. So I will get there. I am reading it physically, reading the physical book. I'm not listening to it, so it's going to take me a little longer because I have the attention span of a mouse. But yeah, I mean, so far what I've read, I'm enjoying as well. And
I mean, it's like you can see Nico here in the chat. Clearly not a big fan of the High Republic. That's all right. You're not. I
mean, Nico can't be a fan or not a fan of it because he's never read anything from it.
But he read it. He read it on Facebook.
It would be like Nico saying, "Man, I really hate the new Dune movie." It's like, really? Have you seen it? Okay.
Yeah, who knows if he has, but there's many fans out there like Nico that just aren't feeling the High Republic at all. And I know even Spencer's like reading the book. It's okay, but nothing, or like not a single character really stands out, or this, that, and the other thing. So who knows? Who knows? I don't think it's anything to get angry out. I don't think it's going to stymie any other plans or any other Star Wars stories you want to see. It just gives people, maybe brand new fans, older fans, something else to kick around, right? I mean, how many things can you do in the... Oh, there he goes. Nico read the first comic. So he is at least...
People who enjoy and taking the new content.
Nico does not agree with my thoughts on the comic, which is fine. We can still be friends on the Star Wars Time show. Oh, see, we need like a sitcom track. Like how... It's basically the same track through every episode where, the bad thing happens. They're all like, ooh. And then they make up at the end. They're like, ah. But yeah, I'm a fan of the comics so far. Clearly not the book, because I can't even listen to it. It's more of just Stern's back in season. So it's taken most of my listening time up. But the comic's been all right. I'm liking the art. I can tell you the art in the regular Star Wars is getting worse and worse. It's like, I don't know if they're going down like to interns at this point in time, but the proper Star Wars comic has almost turned into Nick, you know the comic book art like back in the day where like a bunch of little dots to make the color? That's essentially where Star Wars 2021 is at right now in terms of its art.
That seems a little fucked.
Yeah, but who knows? So if you've respected my opinion on other Star Wars things, I don't think the comic book's a bad read. Plus, it's an easy thing to get into. $3.99. If you don't like it, you don't have to continue on. But I'll keep these up. They get more views than the other comics, I'm assuming because it's new. And there's not a lot of people, I think, dedicating time to the High Republic. So maybe we can jump on that niche. Even if we don't like it, guess what? If the Star Wars Time Show gets traction through SEO on the High Republic, we're going to make a full-on pivot to High Republic. Nick's going to get the shit tattooed on his face, and we will become the High Republic Time Show.
Yeah,
I will sell out for anything just to get a following. You heard it here first. All right, speaking of the comic world, and man, I've been terrible with transitions today. Nick, maybe you should take the next transition or two, because I've done a lot of speaking ofs and up next is. But, kind of the comic universe was still there. This kind of makes sense, right? But and this, I know a lot of people, this actually got a lot of traction on our Instagram, a lot of comments. But apparently Kevin Feige had to, or, maybe someone asked him, but he had to clarify that there's no plans in the works to have an MCU and Star Wars crossover movie.
Yeah, I think this came up in an interview with Yahoo Entertainment, and they just asked him like, "Hey, you're working on both now, so are we ever going to get crossover? It's these two massive franchises. They're both owned by the same company. It can happen." And basically, he just said no. This is his quote. He said, "If you'd asked me anything we're talking about right now was in the realm of possibility 20 years ago, I would have said, I don't think so. But I really don't think so. I don't think there's any reason for it." Basically, he just said that there's no Marvel and Star Wars crossover happening. One, if you want that, you can go play Fortnite.
There you go.
There's a ton of shit.
Nick is right.
There's your Marvel Star Wars crossover. You can play Thor, and then you can also be a stormtrooper in the same game. So, I guess I can understand why comic fans would have more question about this, because that does happen pretty often in comics, where you have crossovers between different universes, different franchises and stuff like that. And you have these limited runs, limited arcs where you have, the Avengers fighting the Justice League and stuff like that. That's happened in the past, where you had DC Marvel crossovers. But in terms of like silver screen movies and stuff like that, I just don't think you're going to see it happen.
To me, it franchise wise makes no sense. Star Wars, it says, a long time ago from a galaxy far, far away for a reason. Like, it sets the stage. Even in my mind as a little kid, I was like, oh shit, this is like historical shit. This is old, centuries, thousands of years.
Intentionally distancing itself from anything.
And it would just you could maybe the Guardians because they fly ships, but even that, it just would not make sense. They're two completely different worlds between Marvel's spacefaring characters and Star Wars spacefaring characters. To me, Star Wars is like this old, by the time we come into it, dying out regal galaxy that's kind of on its last legs, about to be reborn after the Empire, to where Marvel, it takes place in our current time.
Now, really, the only way that you could have something like this is through like a Galactus, who is kind of like a galaxy destroyer, and like he's terrorizing through the Star Wars galaxy, and then somebody jumps through into our galaxy and asks for help. Like it would even in that instance, it would still be. I know you're
trying
disbelief.
To work this out, because it's a mind fuck, because it doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't. I think if we really try to think this into existence, our eyes will fall out of our head, and you'll see steam coming out of our ears. Like
it's basically the. You would need like the world between worlds, or you would just completely build an alternate reality.
Even then, it just I'm lacking the fucking term. There's probably a term for this, but Marvel's worlds and characters and Star Wars worlds and characters don't line up on any level, on tone, narrative, the plots they've experienced, the different types of fantastical shit that happens. Like, to me, they're diametrically different, to the point that even if you did try to cross them over, people's heads would break, like they just melt, because it does not compute. Like 1010 abort. It wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, it would. And then just like on a logistical standpoint, like if this ever got greenlit, it would just be like, that would be the cash grab. I know that people think that everything that Disney does is a cash grab, whatever.
That one may finally get me to
that would
become
be
a full Star Wars troll. Like, that one I would act like a piece of shit, like a lot of people have been acting.
And like, look, there's way, if you wanted to do something like that, fine. Here's what you do: make a fighting game. There you go.
Or like a completely slapdicky cartoon universe. And even then, it makes me feel a little itchy. I'm not gonna lie. I think Nico, I know he's fucking around, but he has a good point. Like, he's saying Groot is the leader of the Nihil. And if I look to the future and see like the organic plant shit that I think's coming, hey, he may be on to something here.
So it's just one of those things where, like, again, like, there's not a lot of Star Wars news happening, so you take a soundbite from Kevin Feige and you put it up there for people to speculate.
The interviewer did a great job. I mean, the interview did their work. I'm sure they met to talk about something Marvel, but got that Star Wars bit out of them, and now you got some clickbait for really nothing, for no news, and our two asses are talking about it, so it worked.
Yeah, and us talking about it. And I will say straight up that if Star Wars and Marvel clashed, I mean, I think it would be a good fight, but it depends on what era and whatever. Like, if it was the era of the Empire, and all you had was the Emperor, Darth Vader, and Luke Skywalker versus all of the Avengers and everybody who was at the end of Endgame, the Avengers would stomp Star Wars.
Yeah, see, I always take the exact opposite. I feel like one powerful Force user could take out
Scarlet Witch is a powerful Force user, and she would rip Luke Skywalker's body in half.
Maybe Luke, but what about like a Yoda or a Vader or a Chosen One or a Rey?
That's what I'm saying. Is like it depends on the era. Like, if you take all of the Force users ever and then have them face the Avengers, then the Avengers lose because of purely being overpowered.
But you're thinking there are some one-on-ones. Hey, maybe this is your new battle bracket: Marvel versus Star Wars.
Marvel versus Star Wars. But I think that in a straight up fight, Scarlet Witch could probably kill pretty much anybody in the Star Wars universe. Yeah.
Your current WandaVision?
Yep.
And they actually like slide that argument in there. I'm sure you picked that up. They're like, well, she did almost take out Thanos herself.
Yeah, she was like, she could have killed Thanos by herself if he hadn't called a fucking airstrike on her, which is true. Like, she would have literally. No,
you're right. I mean, she to me is as close to a Force user as it's going to get in Marvel. I mean, the only thing she's lacking is a lightsaber, and I'm sure she could conjure one up if she really wanted it.
I would say she could, like, because her energy is like physically manifested, she could probably just make one. But yeah, I mean, like, it's some fun, it's fun nerd talk to have, over a beer in your basement, or if you're watching, if you're high and you're watching movies and stuff like that. I don't think it ever needs to be realized on a big screen.
Right. And I
keep it the conversation.
And I still think Feige is being saved. I mean, obviously he's being consulted on. I think John and Dave are talking to him like, hey man, what is the best way to have all these separate properties in the same shared universe, but then start crossing them over and ultimately getting to a mega endgame type of event. I think Kevin's helping with that. And he may also be the force behind, if this talk of Ahsoka, Rangers, Mando, book are all ultimately, maybe they cross over once a year, or maybe they truly work towards something mega. I do think if it's something mega, Kevin could be the guy that kind of handles that. The movie aspect.
That at least like shepherds along the process, because I mean, fuck. just what he did with Phase 3 was so incredible. And if you think about it, like, yeah, not all of the movies in there were winners. I mean, Thor: Dark World was pretty shitty. Iron Man 2 was pretty shitty. There was some misses in there.
I mean, they're not movies that, like,
bring them together.
There's still not a single Marvel movie where you're like, if I watch this, I'm gonna vomit. I mean, you can still tolerate them all. I mean, there are some that are like, oh, okay, I'd rather watch another one. But when I went through all my mega rewatches preparing for IW and Endgame, I mean, it's not like, oh, Dark World, I'm going to skip it. I still watched it, and watching it, I wasn't like, someone fucking poked my eyes out with an ice pick. So it's not like, I don't think they've had any just true piles of shit.
Not since Disney got their hands.
So, I mean, who knows? I mean, I think Kevin's probably, he earns his money at Disney, 10 times over. Just through what he did with the MCU, and I'm sure he's bringing the same care to Star Wars. But I do think he's being relied upon a lot for consulting, but also possibly to work towards some huge Star Wars crossover event for the big screen.
I think so.
Otherwise, he's just producing Taika's movie, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. So that's all on Feige. But speaking about crossovers, we got our final piece of news up, and this is a game character crossing over into physical form.
You just did. Speaking of, you were supposed to clean that shit up for us.
Oh, well, fuck these guys. I don't care how these transitions go. If you don't like them, go listen to KRT.
Tough titties.
So we got a new gaming greats announcement here, and this is Mr. Cal Kestis coming to real life form. And I think, Matt, you said that this was like this kind of popped up in the community.
It's
had some things, a little excitement about it, or
it
something. It
depends on whose accounts you saw last week when this got announced. I think this was a Friday deal, or kind of who you hang with on Instagram and the toy photography community. But I know, like, the likes, I think it was Black Series Work More or Less. They're like, oh my God, this thing's fucking dope. All the accessories, Cal looks great. And I'm not really denying any of that. I think this is a great package. We're talking about, as Nick said, it's the Cal Kestis Gaming Greats Deluxe figure, which I think you might still be able to get at GameStop for $20.99, Forbidden Planet, and some of those other ones for international or UK. But I think, and I have not pre-ordered this, Nick, so please clap for me or tell me I'm a good boy.
I mean, I don't think you need this, honestly.
No. Here's the deal. I think what really got people excited, it's not so much that it's Cal Kestis, it's the accessories. You're getting a new skin BD. You're getting this little funky thing. What the hell are these things called? A bogling.
Oh, I don't. Yeah,
you get the holocron that you could use for props. You get a little shitty rubber hood. You get a dual-bladed lightsaber. And, the figure itself, obviously, if you're a Cal fan, you probably dig it. I'm not that much of a... Hey, EKU, Rory, I did not spend money on this one. I promise you. I will show you my bank account. I held strong on this guy, even though last week I had to buy the Kenner Obi-Wan and the Kenner Greedo and the reskinned Qui-Gon. But the Cal Kestis Deluxe, I'm holding strong. So much so that I hope when I click on this, of course I didn't put the pre-order link in for GameStop. I was going to see if he was sold out, which I'm hoping he is. That way I can just...
No, you got it up there. You got it up there. Yeah, it's under the full box.
Oh, there we go.
Before Yak Face.
Okay, is he still available?
He is.
Oh, he's still available. Here I go. I'm going to do it. Boom. Nah, I'm not doing it. I'm learning my lesson, Nick, and I think it's helped that I've actually have committed now. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow, but for the past 3 weeks, I've held a toy shoot that is. I'm not going out and executing people that don't agree with my Star Wars opinions. But I think by doing that, it's slowly getting me back into the swing of things and letting me know what I like to shoot, what I don't like to shoot. And it's really kind of awakened me to how sucked in I got to the FOMO of getting every new fucking release with the idea that I was going to shoot them and post them to Instagram because it was new. Because in the end, in 2020, I think I might have posted 4 of the new figures at this point in time to my at Haywood Pop account. So why? What is the big draw to get these figures right away, to pre-order them, to go fucking insane, waiting for pre-orders and carts getting dumped out and going, bots! Black market eBay! You know, it's just like, why? Because it does nothing for me but shave more years off of my life. Like, I am going to have a stroke or a heart attack. That is going to happen. I'm not wishing it upon myself, but through the way I live, my anxiety, my insanity, I'm gonna pop a fucking blood vessel either in the ticker or in the brain. It's going to happen.
Probably, yeah.
I need to start removing some of those fucking triggers, and as sad as that is, buying toys to collect and then to shoot them has become one of them. So let's focus on the Barbies, the pretty ones, the boys and girls. They're great portrait subjects. I just shot my Play Arts Kasai Final Fantasy figures and had a blast. Cloud looked great. Barrett looked great. Together they looked like pimps. And it was fun. It was not like, oh, I gotta get that new Ahsoka and then line her up with the 332nd and do a scene. It's like, no, just fucking chill out. You got figures, shoot them. Tune out of this type of stuff. You don't need a Cal Kestis Deluxe, Matthew.
I agree. I think that you have plenty enough to go through, and you know, just because it's not brand new doesn't mean that people aren't going to like the shot when it comes out.
Thank you.
And then also, you just don't like Cal Kestis.
I don't. Like, he's like, if this was Luke Skywalker from The Mandalorian and he was getting his own Grogu style and an R2 and a different cloak, fuck yeah, okay, I'm in. Just like I bought that, Disco Obi-Wan. Disco Obi-Wan looks like a fucking pimp. Even if I don't shoot that figure, I will be proud to display him. And when people go, what is that? I'll tell them the tale of Disco Obi.
There you go. And I mean, with this one, I feel like if they did take your suggestion that you gave, a bit ago and just did accessory packs, you would probably just get the accessories.
Of course. Like, you would just a lot of us would. I think there's a market, and some companies do it. I don't know if it's NECA or Mezco, but there are companies that are like, hey, here's a $30 accessory pack. You get another head, you get a hand, you get some guns, you get this, and this. That's, fuck yeah, sign me up. I'll still won't do anything with them. I'll still buy them with...
But at least I won't have to pay as much.
Bro, you should see... how many city scene dioramas I've bought and have not taken them out of the box. Because I'm like, oh, I got Marvel figures. I need to have a city. I'll buy that. And literally sitting in the box, never taken out.
Hey, man, you can, now resale though. You
can resell I bought that amazing Smuggler's Retreat from Dakota. Dagobah Customs. I maybe have used it to shoot figures 5 times in 2.5, 3 years.
Hey, you know what? I think I may have pulled one of those for your.
Of course you did. It was my highest shot. I mean, it goes to show you if I actually take the time and use these nice dios, I'll get more bang for my buck. Versus as EKU Rory was making fun of me last week when I showed him my setup, where I literally had my wife's work table folded out in front of my computer, a shitty desk lamp and some loom cubes propped up, and I was digi-ramming. And I was like, hey, dude, if you're gonna bitch at me for that, you better get your ass on that 3D printer and start printing me off some of these dioramas that this Landspeeder Luke dude is making on Instagram. It's like, why are you even teaching anymore? Just fucking print these things out and sell them for $150 a pop.
Dude, that's the way to go. Look it up,
my friends. I know a lot of you toy people have probably seen it because a lot of the big accounts were whipping them last week or stumping for them. But at Landspeeder Luke, that dude is printing and painting some exquisite looking dioramas for the 112ers out there. They're
only time until the Disney and Lucasfilm overlords come down on him.
Dude, go look at it. I mean, he even markets them like they're Black Series. I mean, he takes pictures. It looks just like a Black Series backdrop. They're perfect. They're not.
Holy fuck! Yeah, he really.
You know what I mean?
does.
Like, it looks like he works for fucking Hasbro. That type of quality.
Scaled for Star Wars: The Black Series. Look at that, dude. He's gonna get sued. This at least what GTP and what Matthew was doing. Like he literally was like, it's Space Walls. Yeah. All right, like it's not I'm not saying that this is Star Wars. I'm not saying that this is whatever. This motherfucker is legitimately marketing these like it is he's packaging them like they're awesome. Star Wars Black Series.
I love it.
This dude, he's gonna get sued. So if you want shit from him, get it quickly.
I mean, it's all sold out too. Like if you go on his store, people in the community they buy this shit up like hotcakes, man. $150 a pop. Done. You want half a Falcon ass? Done. You want like a generic bar scene? Done. You want a back to tank Imperial Echo base? Done. Oh, you want the hallway where Princess Leia said, get down there, you flyboy or some shit like that? Oh, I got that too. Just beautiful work there. So there's a free plug for Landspeeder Luke. Just an account that I kind of, I mean, he tagged us once or twice because he does the toy photography too.
Yeah, I see he's got some regular toy photo shots.
Once he got on that stuff, he stopped tagging us. I'm like, dude, we like that shit too.
This motherfucker.
Anything Star Wars. Like I said, we're about to get into the fan segment already. I know a lot of you probably feel like we stole money from you today because we're not going to be going into the 3+ hour mark.
This is not going to be if I have anything to do with it, this will not be a 3 hour long show.
I mean, it'll be impossible at this point. The only thing that can make it 3 hours long if I just fucking keel over and die and don't hit the stop button. All right? Which could happen. Like I said, you never know like if the heart or the stroke is coming. So if you ever see me just, kind of go still or fall on my chair, you know why? Call the police. But yeah, man, you gotta like what fans do. So anyone out there, if you can print me a double-bladed lightsaber like Cal's, a Bogling, and a holocron, but the holocron, no bullshit 3D printing. It's got to be the clear with colored plastic so I can add lighting to it and really make it pop in a picture. All right, so no just generic 3D printed cube that I have to paint. If I can't 3D print shit, you think I can paint shit? No. So if you ever want to do 3D stuff for me, it's got to be completely done.
There you go, dude. You can actually, you might want to look in at just like getting a mini, especially for like the stuff that you want to do.
Know. It's the paint, like, bro. I'm telling you right now, it's the fucking painting aspect.
Yeah, it's the painting. But I think that might be something to center you. Like that might be one of those hobbies where like you find like you get into it and you're like, man, this brings me to like my level.
How long have we been talking and doing this show?
I know, man.
Do you remember when toy photography was that?
But now you need a new one. And then at least with this,
you want me to do?
If you
me to get another hobby that I'm going to turn into a jobby? Come on, man.
But at least if you break the figures, you can just print another one. It's free. You don't have to.
I'm not gonna lie. Like you do have a point. The way 3D printing has become, it's obviously
this 3D printer I'm looking at right now is $207.
And a lot of these people that create the designs, they throw it up in Thingiverse or other sites that host all these drawing files. So I mean, you're not wrong. It really just comes down to the fucking painting. I can't like my boy. Like I'm not kidding. Like EKU Roy, he's my homie, and like he prints stuff for me. But if he prints something for me, it's showing up in my pictures as is. So whatever color plastic he used, that is the item, and that's what it's going to look like. That's why I've got.
You just got to get him if you want the double bladed saber. You just got to get him to use
gray on that day.
Print 3 different pieces, like gray for the handle and then green for the little lightsaber.
Because he even printed me like a pimp ass Mando helmet for the tiny Grogu figure. But it's all white. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to fucking paint this shit, even though it would take me maybe 3 minutes. Because, Nick, it's like the size of an eraser. And I'm still like, nah, fuck it. I don't want to go out and buy the silver paint or the black and start doing that shit. My hands will start shaking and I'll get pissed. There's a reason I don't do a lot of manly stuff around my house and my wife does.
You just got to get super stoned. And then that's when you paint, because then you'll be steady, you'll be slow.
Yeah,
be like,
maybe,
man,
but I'm telling you, dude, I don't do well with tiny little movements. That's why the only tool I'm proficient at is anything that can be swung and hit. Like even a basic screwdriver starts to test my ability as a coordinated human when it comes to handyman type of stuff. It's got to be a blunt object, something that just swings and hits.
Yeah. Sledgehammer. anything like that. Baseball bat.
Yeah. So,
All right.
and I'll take any and all 3D printed items, be it black, white, gray, blue. Like I said, I don't give a fuck. It's still getting in the picture. I don't care.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, dude.
So this Gaming Greats is available now if you're a Cal Kestis fan, or if you even like some of the accessories with it. So it's up on EB, GameStop right now, International, Forbidden Planet, and Zavvi for those of you who are not US based or listening in a country that doesn't have GameStop. You can get it there.
Nico's telling me to go for spray paint, but I've always stayed away from spray paint because I'm someone that likes the smell of it too much.
Oh, like no. He's just mad.
Yeah, you'll find me on the next show. My fingers will be like silver and I'll have like gold paint all over my face. I'll be like, what the fuck did he do? Did you just blow a spray paint can? And Nick will be like, no, he now huffs fucking paint.
Yeah, he huffs paint.
And I'm worried. Like, I'm worried my little kid's going to have the explorative mind like me, because even when we open a marker now, it's not like a kid's marker. She's like, oh, I like the way that smells. I'm like, oh, no.
No.
I'm like, oh, no, it's not the smell. It's the little high you're getting. God damn it. No.
Yeah, it's those brain cells popping as that happens.
I can see it in her eye, man. She's gonna have that curiosity that I had.
She's gonna be a glue sniffer.
No.
Oh, no.
She's already a booger eater, and I can't convince her that that's not socially acceptable. But because she hasn't been around other humans for so long, to you know, it's good and bad. Like, I feel horrible because she's not building up the resilience to shitty humans like she should be at this age, like dealing with scumbags.
But she's also not finding the socially acceptable line.
Right. Like, I'm okay if kids talk shit on her when she's picking her nose and eating it. Like, that's okay. You need that type of shame. But the other stuff I'll be okay with. So yeah, exactly. Kung Fu's got it. I'll look like the guys in Mad Max, you know, like the what are they called? Like the boys, or I don't want to call them the party boys. I forget what they are, but yeah, they get basically huffed up with paint. All right, man. We are moving right along. I'm liking this. But we're at the fan segment. So as always, we're gonna go ahead and start with the question of the week before we get into the top 5, as we like to say.
Yeah. Just a heads up too for a fan question. Recently, actually, since we've been doing it, we've been pulling like 10 answers per week. That shit is stopping soon, because we've realized that most of the time on this show gets to eat up on us reading your responses, and most of your responses are the same as the other responses. So we're gonna probably pick between like 5 now, so write something good.
Yeah, that's kind of the new requirement. Yeah, Nick's a hard ass. I don't deny it. He is right. We need to cut that down just a bit. This week it would have been a big deal, and we still have 10 or more because it was a slower week. But it's something we got to clean up. It'd be nice to get back to maybe doing the battle bracket. I'm not kidding. I think that the Marvel Star Wars,
the Marvel versus
I think that's something you should kick around.
And if here's what I'll do. If I make it, and if Scarlet Witch goes out in the first round, I'm stopping the bracket.
Just for trolls. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Because you did kind of lay the cards out there who you think is the number one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like I will cut it off.
We do get good reaction, even though I post them the morning of the show these days. But there is a lot. It's a lot of our super fans who we love. I mean, we the Limas, the Tones, the Sir Dorks, the Darth Hideouses.
We love all of you guys, and we say your name as much as we need to, but we don't need to dedicate half of our show to it.
Hopefully we'll be picking some newer people, try to convince other non-hardcore Star Wars Time Show fans to get in on it. Yeah, I typically tip everyone off in the Discord on Tuesday mornings to let them know it's there. Once that happens, you disseminate it to other Star Wars minded people on IG. Let's kind of get a mix of people, get them introduced to the show, right? I'm always asking all of you to go out and be our disciples, to preach the gospel of the SWTS, to try to bring more to our flock. We are the shepherds. You are our sub-shepherds. Okay? So flock it up. But without further ado, here's the last edition of the extended version of the fan question of the week. The question this week was, and I clearly still have animated Star Wars on the brain. I considered throwing something Marvel Star Wars in there, but I blanked out on that one, went with this. So, What animated Star Wars character do you want to see in live action form next? Explain. All right, I'll take some of the first few stories here, Nick.
This should be the only one. Like you said to me previously, this should be the only response that we read.
So this one here is it's Danger for Breakfast. I'm not sure what their handle is because, I mean, obviously you can have a name of who you are and your handle. But anyways, Danger for Breakfast. They even sent screenshots. It was perfect. Perfect work here. Great way to get yourself mentioned on the show.
This is the level of response that we're looking
is awesome.
for from now on.
This person says, the animated characters I most want to see in real life are Luke and Leia from the 78 holiday special when they were rolling on Molly. and if you're on the live stream, you got to check out the pictures he sent, and he's not kidding. Like they either did eat a ton of MDMA or acid, or have eaten nothing but space fungus for the 78 holiday special, because their eyes are so blown out and their pupils are dilated. I mean,
Luke's eyes in that first shot, it looks like he just ate a whole bag of mushrooms and is like staring into a mirror.
What he's seeing right now, Nick, is he is seeing the meaning of life. That's that look. Like he is through hallucinations. Luke Skywalker has figured out the meaning of life. He's going to give up his quest to take down the Empire, and he is going back to Tatooine to grow fungus on a moisture farm. Even the middle one looks like R2-D2 or C-3PO stuck something up his ass without him knowing.
I know, like, right? I don't know who did the animation on this, but this shit is so
awesome. Like, I mean, this is why the 78 holiday special is such a classic, because it is just you when you know the level of care and control George kind of had over Star Wars until he let it go. The fact that this kind of got out there is hilarious.
Dude, I think that this happened in like the post, episode 4, A New Hope, like explosion, and George was just
he's like
fucked up.
Yeah, he had like a bunch of offers were coming in. He's like, yes, no, yes, do it, approved, no, go, and then they're like, George, it's a fucking holiday special with wonky looking cartoons and real shitty looking Wookiee costumes.
He's like, do I get licensing paid for it?
They're like, yes, all right, Mr. Lucas, you do it. Sign me up. And by the way, make sure to get in Mark Carey and Harrison's contract that they have to participate, or they're not allowed in the sequel. Like, he was going to cut them out of Empire if they didn't do this.
Yeah. All right. Man. So that was
great. Great one from Danger for Breakfast. Up next, this is our buddy SW Black Series clips. The up-and-coming stop-motion animator I talked about last week. Put out a fantastic stop animation short for a giveaway they were doing. So while Nova is in the Discord, he is amongst the disciples of the SWTS. I'm not just blowing smoke to blow smoke. I genuinely appreciate what this guy does with his toys and the art form he has chosen to portray them in. But he kind of touches on something a character we were talking about earlier, and we got a few of these. But he goes with Hondo. We know he's still around up to TLJ at least because of his Galaxy's Edge appearances. I could definitely see him involved in a Mando episode or the Ahsoka series. And 100%, especially because of what I just said. Dave went out of his way, just like he went out of his way to get his wolves into the show on the last season. He went out of his way to make a clear connection between Hondo and Ezra that was unlike any other connection between Hondo and other main characters. Like I said, in episode 14, Hondo's a pirate. He just wants money. He wants jobs that get him paid. Him and Melch, the little Ugnaught he has with him, who's fantastic. But he does say, I will do anything for that kid. So I think Hondo in Ahsoka or Mando, if Ezra's coming back in live action form, I will fall on that sword. All right, I'm committing to that. Our sources have said. I think Hondo paired up again with either some of the rebels, Sabine, Ezra, Hera, makes great sense. So we're with you.
Yes. All right. So next up, we have Our response from Sir Dork730 here. He says the obvious choice are the rest of the Rebels cast. Sabine, Ezra, and Hera are such important characters to this era of Star Wars and need to have their stories finished. Yeah, I mean that, Matt was touching on that a little bit just with Hondo, and we touched on it with the opening segment on Rebels. But yes, I agree.
Yeah, I just want to reinforce that Sabine has a clear, committed dedication to finding Ezra. She says as much. He told me he's counting on me, and now I think I know why. So yeah, and obviously Hera has a lot of stories to be told as well.
I was gonna say, like, the only one that's like question mark for the Ahsoka series in particular is Hera, but I think that she has as much reason to be in it as any of the other Rebels cast.
I mean, I've been thinking about that. I think Hera is primed for Rangers. I think she makes way more sense for Rangers than Ahsoka. I mean, she could potentially be teased in Ahsoka
with Rangers, especially since Rangers is probably going to be a little focused on like the formation of the New Republic, and then like specifically like this like sheriffs and like the outer,
I'm going with right off the bat Trapper and who was it? Was it Carson? The pilots from season 2. Yeah. They're a part of that force. Hera is a general at this point in time, maybe an admiral. I mean, she is a genius when it comes to the New Republic Navy. Like, she maybe wasn't quite there with Thrawn, but pretty fucking close in terms of her strategy, and she's probably a better pilot than him. Like, he even says, like, Hera is one of the best pilots he's ever seen. So yeah, I mean, I think Hera for Rangers would make a good fit. They could be her Rangers for all intents and purposes. Okay. Yeah. Tong Wars. Right, I saw him in here. I don't know if he's still here, but he was in the live stream. Yeah.
All right. He says Thrawn, he's live action canon now. Should have been the protagonist in the sequel trilogy and is now time for redemption. Absolutely no reason why the original Tim Zahn trilogy shouldn't have remained canon apart from Thrawn's death. Well, I mean, that's a pretty big reason. To them, see him / Mara Jade et al. On the big screen. Still torn on who to play him, though. Still lean towards Jason Isaacs, but I actually think Michael Fassbender would be another great option.
I can almost guarantee they may use, was it Mads Mikkelsen, the guy that voiced him in the show?
Well, Mads Mikkelsen, I mean, the big problem there is Mads Mikkelsen what's his name?
No, that's maybe I'm talking about the wrong brother then, but let me look it up here.
Yeah, because Mads was
voice act. There we go. Lars, my bad.
Lars Mikkelsen. They could. He's definitely got a bit of a Thrawn look.
Yeah, I mean, they could probably. They might have to throw some prosthetics on the brow,
Yeah, but he could definitely pull off a Thrawn look. He's got the same shape of face.
Right. I mean, Nick, I've got an image up. Maybe it's the one you're looking at where they compare Lars's face to animated Thrawn. So
yeah, that's the one I'm looking at as well. So yeah, I think that could definitely happen. I think that's a good call.
I just have a feeling they may stay in house with Thrawn just like they did with Bo.
Yeah, the two that Tong calls out specifically, Isaacs and Fassbender. I mean, he's too much. Like, I think that Fassbender would come in to do like, a cameo,
like an Oliphant role. He's almost too good looking to be a main Star Wars character.
Yeah, like he can't. I don't think he's going to stay in for an extended period of time. If you're going to have Thrawn, he would be a multi-episode arc. Isaacs, I think so. I think Isaacs would be a good choice as well. But I think if Lars doesn't do it, then Isaacs.
Well, Isaacs has a tie to Rebels as well. He's the Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor.
Oh, he was the voice for the Grand Inquisitor. Well, there you go. That's not bad too. Bring him in. So yeah, good response
but I mean, Tong. Isaacs, Fassbender, Benedict. I think that's who Blaine has fan casted. A lot of these names pop up, but I just have a feeling that Lars, they may do what they did with Bo and just roll right into the actual voice actor becoming the live action actor.
Makes sense. All right, next up, Lima4 says Sabine Wren. She seems to be the one that would be in the logical progression path of existing and upcoming shows. He says, Mando and Ahsoka. She has a colorful background. Does that qualify as a pun?
Yeah, she's a painter.
She's
an artist.
But developed and matured a lot over the course of the Rebel storyline. Plus, I wouldn't complain having another Star Wars princess that's easy on the eyes on
I like
screen.
the way Lima's thinking. And he still is.
Yeah.
He is the scholar of Star Wars time show fan responses.
Very
he uses like
response.
IEs and shit correctly. And actual punctuation, parentheses. It's crazy.
No, it's very, very well written. But yeah, I think, like we were saying before, Sabine is kind of in that
I'm saying it right now. We're going to see Sabine and Ezra and Ahsoka. If we don't, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah. All right, next up, Zane Reese Visions. 5s, he says. He was a prime example of what an ARC trooper should strive to be like, and it would be cool to see him in maybe a flashback. Maybe we'd possibly see him giving a similar speech that Colt gave to the cadets, saying how his squad barely passed and giving. He's
talking
kind
about
of
it's a very. I guess it's a fairly iconic episode in the first season of Clone Wars where you got like this batch of clones that are kind of fuck ups, right? And they can't really work together as a squad, but by the end of the episode, some shit happens. Grievous is essentially, I believe, attacking Kamino. They figure it all out. So I know what he's saying.
Yeah. I think it would be, At least he
nailed down it would have to be a flashback. Like there's really no way to get this done.
This is fucking toast. But I mean, any clone trooper would be easy to get in there because Tamir is just on the payroll.
Damn
straight,
at this point. And I'm sure he'd be like, "Fuck yeah, sign me up, man." It's
like, sure. What do you got to do?
That's another credit, and that's another royalty check eventually coming down the line for a role. So let's do it. All right, thank you, Zane. I'll take this. It's a quick one here from Corona 4. Nate, he goes, Cad Bane or Hondo, no explanation necessary. And we could leave it at that. I already talked about Hondo, but I think there is a path for Cad Bane if that Clone Wars episode clearly is not going to get put out there, the one where we see him die. So there is potential for that, and Cad clearly would be a perfect character for Book of Boba, really. I mean, come on.
Yeah, really. That would
it
be
seemed
the
like
best
those two
one.
were eventually headed towards a kind of an antagonistic relationship. All right.
Yeah.
Next up, Impala Austin, the runner of the TikToker, aka the Big Amish, who likes to 69.
He says, I would say Ahsoka, but hey, we got that. Next on the list is Savage Opress, hands down. He is a menacing beast, and he is one of those terrifying bad guys, not to mention how extra menacing he would be in live action. He'd bring a lot of good film content to the table. Yeah, I mean, he's dead. So it would have to be in, like, if you're doing a live action thing within that Clone Wars time period, or if you're working in flashbacks and like a mall.
Yeah, I think someone else propositioned Savage and it'd be great. I'd just cast a fucking rock, right? Fucking he's got the shaved head, put some horns on him. He's already tanked up. The fuck was I gonna say? All right, delete.
Yeah,
deleted.
Move
There's
on.
2 deletes in one cast. This is not good.
We got like a run of short answers here. So this is Passage to Alderaan, says Cad Bane for the simple reason I want a figure of him. There's already a figure of him.
He is a Passage is a 1/6 scale only shooter. So he's going for the Barbie style.
Okay, so there's not a figure for him then. But yeah, Cad, we talked about him. Clearly could work in Mando, could work in Book of Boba. Sean Forney, good friend of the show. All of Rebels and Ventress.
We covered Rebels, Ventress. Hell yeah, I know. Our
Ventress and
our PR associate, he threw some stuff up there about Ventress. He's still trying to get read on the fan question of the week. But yeah, he makes some good points. One point that Spencer does make about Ventress is that she's one of these powerful users that wasn't necessarily afraid to use, sex, her appearance to get what she needed. So, and I loved how Asajj was portrayed throughout the Clone Wars. I mean, hardcore disciple of the dark side with Dooku. They turn on her. she eventually almost becomes like a bounty hunter of sorts and helps Ahsoka there in the end. So
yeah, mercenary.
And I believe,
kind of,
she's still kicking around, right? I mean, Ventress doesn't have a closed storyline through Clone Wars.
Yeah, she's not dead from what we can tell, unless she died in like a novel. Right. I think she might have.
Yeah, fuck that. No one reads the books anyway.
I don't know because there was a Ventress novel out there called Dark Disciple, but I don't know if that took place post Clone Wars and she died in it or not. Taylor actually read that and I didn't. Interesting enough. And she was a big fan of it. She was a big fan of that book. It was her and Quinlan Voss, the Jedi, had a relationship together, like a sexual relationship together. All right, GT Rain, Cad Bane, Clint Eastwood's evil space twin. Talked about that one.
And then Ripik Tan had the Hondo again, the Captain Jack Sparrow of the Galaxy. And that is a good way to describe Hondo. Like he is a pirate, but he's kind of a fuck up. He tries to do the right thing, but in the end, he also always tries to get paid. So yeah, I think that works. Yeah.
All right. Next up is from the Angry Jawa. I like that name. Savage Opress.
This is what I wanted to say. So, all right. Old Architect clarifying. She does not die in the book. Thank you. This is another Savage one, but I think this is what I was trying to relate to you about him is because what the Angry Jawa says is if they ever do a sequel series to Solo, Mail, aka Maul, could tell Kira about his life and Savage could be shown in a flashback. I think that's a great scenario there.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. If he was able to find a Night Sister, he could just resurrect the motherfucker. It really would make a difference. You could just bring him back to life. There you go. Find Marin. So good one there by Angry Jawa. Next up says
I had to
Jurassic
get a hater in
Star
here.
Park Wars. He says none animated characters should remain animated. And then Utani Toy says, finally someone understands. And then Django with the head says, why?
I was hoping to get a comment fight going, but I think it died right there. So I mean, I just threw this in there to be a jerk off. But
I mean, you could. It's like whatever. I mean, I don't see the reason why you wouldn't. Clearly, it worked pretty well with Ahsoka. But
you just got to.
All right, next up.
Sometimes I like highlighting just like how ridiculous some things are in the fandom.
Keep them animated. So should we not ever animate live action characters either? Should like all of Clone Wars be deleted because those were live action characters?
Or animated Obi-Wan.
You can only go one way.
Ooh, animated Obi-Wan loser. All right. Hey, we got a female. That's always a bonus here.
Yeah, a new commenter, and it's a female commenter. So Laura Minigar, she says, with all the Rebels possibilities that Ahsoka presents, would love to see Hondo thrown in the mix. Not sure his species' lifespan, but always thoroughly enjoyed him in the CW and Rebels. Hey, maybe he'll help out Ezra in live action.
Right there.
Too. There
Laura she's on the same plane as me. She knows immediately Rebels possibilities in Ahsoka and Hondo's tie to them. So excellent comment.
And then just on his lifespan, he's a Weequay, so he's got a long lifespan.
He's like a walking, he's not full on like lizard person like the Transdoshan, but look at that leathery skin. I mean, they look like some motherfuckers that can live through some shit.
Yeah. So, what's the show time? Says
I got him.
We're at like 2 hours and 11 minutes. All right. So there we go. Forced discussions says I like that name. Maybe Princess Kanisa from the Ewok TV series.
I had to get that one in there.
She was daughter of the chief and super cute and great warrior in the Battle of Endor. # joking. I mean, hey, I would like to see some more Ewok characters brought in. I know that there's some fucking haters in there. Some people that really hated the Ewoks from ROTJ. I don't know why. They were too kiddie, maybe, but fuck yeah, bring back in another Ewok character. I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, these motherfuckers are warriors. You could have an Ewok kind of interact with Dan Along in The Mandalorian. Hey, bro,
all you got to do is look at South P24's Instagram page to see how badass Ewoks are. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he just did one this week, and maybe I shared it, but I think it's who is it? Paplu and one of the other ones that have released. literally ripping a scout trooper in half at the waist and chewing on his intestines. That's what the Ewoks do.
Go.
That's why I love the Ewoks. Always have, always will.
South P, bringing it home.
All right.
All right. So that's the end of this the fan question responses for this week. Next week, like we said, we will be paring it down. So if you're going to respond, please do respond. We hope that this doesn't dissuade people from responding because we're picking less answers. We just want to pick stuff that has a little bit more substance to it, a little bit more thought behind it.
I had the page up when we were talking about the Lars and Thrawn, but I had Slack in front of it, so no one saw that. So if you're just coming in like Rust Belt Collector, hey, look, there we go. Lars is going to be Thrawn and this, that, and the other thing.
There we go. But Rust Belt, you came in just in time for the closeout segment of the show, which is the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. And this week we are also going to have Matt break down one of his more recent shots. I'm not going to say it's a most recent shot because it's not in the set he just released this week, but it is one of the more recent.
Hey, I want
shots.
someone. Before we get into this, I want someone to either create a medal or a trophy for me that says Matt made it a whole show without having to pee.
We are flying through that. We're 2 hours and 15 minutes,
and I can feel it. Like the prostate, it's starting to push. Right, there might be some dribbling going on. But I'm doing it. I'm not getting out of this seat. This is going to be the first time probably since we did the live streams where I've made it without taking a piss.
Yeah. And look, man, this is a good one too. We were trying to keep this one shorter than our usual runtime, and we're going to do it. This is going to be a 20-minute segment here. If we go longer than 20 minutes, somebody shoot me.
And he's in Texas, so you better watch out what you ask for.
It's like there's a lot of gun. There's a gun just laying in the middle of the street by my house. I don't even know whose it is.
It's probably the little kids.
Yes, it's the kid next door. All right, so first up for the top 5 this week is at Darth_Bev. I believe this is a first time.
Darth
5.
Bev has multiple. There's Lord Bev, Darth Bev. I don't know who's who. They're a part of this, like the Sorry Track Alliance. They're great accounts.
Galactic Historian, also known as Lord Bev. So Lord Bev is the bigger account. He's 17,000 followers.
Lord and Darth Bev, they're the most productive accounts on Instagram. I'm talking like 80 shots a week or something, it seems like.
That is insanity. But anyway, what we have here is an awesome, like Matt says, awesome mall shot. This is using the Hot Toys mall.
This is a Solo mall.
The Solo inspired mall. And I mean, really, yes, this figure is fucking amazing. Obviously, this is going to enhance the quality of your shot because the quality of the figure is higher. But I mean, even the work that Bev did here with the atmospheric effects, the posing, the post processing done on I think the post processing on the lightsaber is clutch. Like that lens flare and the little bits of like bokeh that are coming off.
That's a good call there, Nick. And for someone that doesn't do this, you actually pointed out something that's difficult, at least to my lowly educated post-processing ass. And red lightsabers, especially when it's a light scene, in terms of it's a fairly bright scene, are tough because they want to go pink. They wash out. Like red color, when you got to do it with a glow, washes out when the overall tone of the image is bright. Like this one is. Like you got, bright lights in the background. You got the bright lights over there in the bottom right. So yeah, I mean, there are times where I will spend way too long trying to get a red lightsaber to look the appropriate red in my mind to where I'm comfortable to share it. I've done a few shots of this guy too, and sitting down, and I probably won't share them now because Darth Bev did a better sitting down shot. I just like Nick said, to me, it's the atmosphere. It's almost oversaturated atmosphere where it's even washing over the subject's face, kind of washing it out a bit. But I like it. It's like Maul he's been sitting in there, smoking some spice, getting ready to call Kira and be like, "Yo, hey, what's up? What's up? You just fucking wasted my guy. What are we doing?"
Yeah, this is right before he calls her at the end of Solo. So good shit here at Darth_Bev on IG. Well done. Next up is our good buddy, a Sith load of Lego all of his shots are quality, but like And, you know, just the fact that he can take these little bits of plastic Lego pieces and make them look emotional and alive. Like this shot here, this is essentially a scene recreation from the end of Clone Wars Season 7, where we see Vader in the snow on the planet where the Imperial cruiser crashed with all the graves of the dead clone troopers there. So, and you see Vader, his saber ignited, kind of looking up in the sky in the snow, covered in snow. I mean, it's just a really good shot, a very evocative shot that uses Legos to kind of bring that emotion out. So I thought it was very well executed.
I'm a huge fan of Lego photographers. It's because of people like A Sith Load of Lego, Tong Wars, Lego Trooper 89, Brick Panda. I mean, the shit they do with these little things. And I've become a huge, I guess you call me a Lego collector. I mean, I just went out and last week we now own the Disney Castle set and the roller coaster set, which are both like expert level 4,000 or 5,000 piece sets.
See, dude, if you can do that, then you can do painting, mini painting.
No, dude, I can't. I don't know what to tell you. It's too precise. At least with the Legos, things don't get too small. I have a feeling when I have to build the chain for the roller coaster, shit may get a little squirrely then. But so far, I'm enjoying the Lego. But kind of back to A Sith Load of Lego. Like Nick said, I mean, these things, unless you buy some of these custom deals or if you rip their arms out and use tack to stick arms in positions you want, I mean, these are as limited in their posability as possible. I'd say Funko Pops are the only thing less articulated than a Lego minifigure. It is just kind of, as Nick said, making these little things feel alive. And that's what I've been telling him. You know, it's a good toy shot when you look at it and you either feel the emotion of the shot or you feel whatever the character is thinking or feeling themselves. And he is not wrong with this A Sith Load of Lego shot. Plus, it's fucking beautiful. Vader. It's darkly lit. You got some, snow flurries coming down there, maybe some crack cocaine on the helmet. It just looks great. I love Vader. And any version of Vader. I've got a Vader bathroom downstairs where I've Vader dolls. I got a Vader cookie jar that stares at me when I take a leak. I love the guy.
There we go. So A Sith Load of Lego with a period between each word of that on Instagram.
Sith.load.of.lego.
There we go. Next up is K Merolz, KMerolzzzzz on IG, and she's one of our real ass painters, and she did a real ass painting version of the Mythos Obi-Wan figure from what was it, Sideshow? Yeah, I mean, and this is just fucking incredible work.
Agreed.
I mean, this is like spot on to what the actual figure looks like. I don't know if she is also a collector. I don't know if she's, somebody who sees these new figures coming out, if she collects them or if she just uses them for inspiration in her art. But I mean, like, this is almost dead on to the exact pose that Sideshow initially revealed the Mythos Obi-Wan to. So I mean, it's just fucking incredible work that she did here.
Yeah, I'm on her page, Nick, scrolling through it, and what she describes is like some of the inspirations for this shot. As Nick said, it's pimp. I mean, it's a great kind of animated looking Obi-Wan, but done in that Mythos Obi-Wan figure state. But what she says, I mean, she's clearly a huge fan. I drew this back when that Galaxy of Adventures animation came out, and also when I saw the Mythos figure. So if you're on the live stream looking, this is the Galaxy of Adventures kind of image of Obi-Wan that I guess got her creative juices flowing. Then obviously, and then here is the figure. Oh no, this is just the full-on Mythos statue.
Yeah, that is just the full.
So it's like she mixed the look of the Mythos, but using some of the animated, almost anime style of Galaxy of Adventures to create the just a fantastic-looking, real-ass art piece of this Mythos.
I mean,
Obi.
dude, looking at her work and then in comparison to the Obi that we see in Galaxy of Adventures, they should just hire her to do the art for Galaxy of Adventures. I know it's different because you have to animate and everything like that. But I mean, her style,
make her the concept artist or something.
Yeah, it fits so well with what they were doing with Galaxy of Adventures. I would love to see like her.
I think they still do those, Nick, but because it's on Star Wars Kids and you no longer get notifications, or they weren't even putting out notifications when it moved to Kids. I just don't know when they ever get released anymore. So
yeah, but I mean, her style just fits perfectly for that type of work, that type of.
Before
Star
we
Wars
move, I know you're trying to do this for me, but do you? With how popular this version of Obi-Wan has become, do you see Deborah or someone in that show maybe styling him a bit like this, or it's Mythos Obi and then there's Obi? Like do we even maybe in his hovel do we see his armor maybe sitting somewhere?
I think we could, and I don't think that these creators, especially the creators like Deborah and Dave and John and stuff like that, I don't think that they are oblivious to what's happening elsewhere. I think that they do take heavy. That's what I mean.
Like just like a little egg or a tip of the hat to this version of Obi-Wan that's been out there in this mythos universe that popped up over the years when, toy makers, comic creators, or whoever needed to get content out there because there was nothing being made.
Yeah, I think that they could use it for sure.
Or maybe at least, they give him a gaffy stick or a Sand People rifle. Something from this version of Obi, I believe, will make it into Kenobi.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
I agree. Good stuff. All right, next up, we have another Lego shot, and I love this one. This is from 030079AR. This is from Ray. And this, he basically made his own Lego poster for the Star Wars Clone Wars series. And what we see is Ayla Secura, lightsaber ignited, flanked by clone troopers on all sides. And they're standing on a battlefield. It looks like on Naboo. I was going to say, it looks like Naboo. Look in the background and see the Naboo style buildings. And there's just a full battle playing out, but this perfectly posed poster shot for Clone Wars using these Lego 100%. Figures. I mean, this is just fucking incredible.
Yeah,
work.
Ray, he is a master of the practical setup, but then enhancing the living shit out of it in post with the digital stuff. I would imagine he might have had Isla and the troopers, and then everything else is digital.
Yeah,
super intense looking Lego scenes, usually action oriented, just very dynamic Lego shots for, again, very static little plastic figures.
Yeah.
They almost look like the cartoon, Lego show, right? Like it's a Lego cartoon.
Say, this almost looks like this is going to be like a cartoon series or something. That's exactly where I was going, or like a Lego animated series. It's just fucking incredible the way that he can put together these action scenes that look so incredible using Legos.
One of the best Lego scene creators, if you will, out there.
Yeah, so give him a follow if you haven't already. 030079AR on Instagram. I know it's I don't know what any of these numbers mean. I don't know if Ray has told us at any point what these numbers mean, but it's weird.
I mean, maybe he owns 30,079 assault rifles. I have no idea.
Maybe. Who knows? It could be. Last up in the top 5 this week is Scott Blind at scott.blind on Instagram. And we see Plo Koon here on the battlefield cutting down some B1s. And I really like this shot because it is almost like it's not really like a fisheye lens, but it's like somebody is taking a picture of this action happening. Like you can see kind of like this.
Yeah, dude, it's this
feathering on the outside of the shot. I know
someone that commented on this because I think this one got some decent heat. Yeah, 365.
365.
Not enough, but decent. But someone commented I thought this was a Hot Toys. And Scott, he's another at Haywood Pop personal fave. The guy, just his shots are always super sharp, crisp looking. very action oriented. Like he's a great action poser. But I also like the lighting and the ultimate finish he puts on his shots. And this is one of his best. I mean, just a fantastic, like, swiping action pose from Plo, going after a B1. You got, I don't know if he was using baking soda, flour, whatever, to create the, snow droplets or water droplets that reflected in the light. But Scott's just, he's excellent at his staging, posing, lighting, and the finish.
Yeah, I mean the pose here almost looks like he cuts down this B1. He's getting ready to jump off to the side.
It's like Scott caught him mid slash, and he's going to either Jedi jump or Jedi run to the next target. And Scott snapped that moment in time perfectly. I mean, nice crisp looking face on Plo. It's just a badass shot. I mean, Plo, if you got him or if you haven't shot him yet, he is one of the more fun characters to shoot because of his face. His face is so, I mean, it's interesting, it's detailed, it seems to catch light in good fashions. But like I said, at Scott Blind, he's another one that I typically usually have 3 to 4 shots in the 2 feature folder, which I didn't kick off, by the way, because we're trying to get through this. But if you're just now listening, if you're new to this little shit show, the fan segment of the Star Wars Time Show, to get involved, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. And anytime you go to share something Star Wars, memes, collectibles, toy photography, real ass paint, which is art, claymation, stop motion, it doesn't matter. Tag at Star Wars Time Show and use hashtag Star Wars Time Show. And maybe one day you can hear us two non-artistic asswipes talk about your art on the Star Wars Time Show Top 5 Fan Artist feature segment.
There we go.
This guy gets a shot.
This guy gets a shot here. So this is the Haywood Pop Shot breakdown of the week. And I picked out I like this shot. I like how it's got a mix of figures in it, and I like it overall. Right. I know that you hate it, but tell us what I'm not going to say I hate it,
but I can see that I made a huge mistake right off the bat.
Oh,
you see how
here we go.
The bottom of the photo, it looks like there's a ledge. Well, there is. It's the fucking table.
There's a ledge.
Like, I should have cropped that up so it didn't look like there's a fucking ledge right there. So that's issue 1. Like, if I was critiquing myself, I'd be like, dickhead, do a better crop. Pay attention. I mean, a lot of times I will shoot and have a bunch of nonsense in frame because I know I'm going to crop it down and get the subject where I need it to be. Clearly, this one, when I was editing, I did not pay attention. So that's the first no, because it's like, all right, well, is there like just a fucking cantina on the edge of a cliff these days, or what?
Could be. It could be. Could be a cliffside cantina. There you go. You just made it.
So to me, that at least throws me off because that's all I look at right now. It's my standard vanilla pose, but at this point, that's who Haywood Pop is. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to try and make myself feel any worse than I already do about myself and my toy art anymore. It is what it is. I did this. You can tell, or I don't know if you can tell, but in the background, you're getting kind of that dark white light, like almost moonlight coming through. That's because it was dark outside and I was trying to squeeze out one last setup. And by setup, it's like, okay, I'll plop the droid here. I'll plop the Lothcat here. And Cad, you'll go there and I'll stick your hand up on your hat.
See, I like the light. That was one thing that attracted me to the shot was the lighting. Because it's not like, you don't often see like natural light night shots.
Yeah. I don't.
Because it's hard to get the coloration and it's hard to get like a well lit enough shot at that point. So I like it. It's almost like a dusk shot. Like, he's walking out and it's
I guess I wasn't really making fun of my lighting because that is one thing I think that I've gotten okay at is lighting. That's probably one of the things I can somewhat figure out because it doesn't really require imagination. It doesn't require posing. It just requires a lot of back and forth between the shooting table and your viewfinder on the camera to make sure you kind of have the end result you're looking for. Plus, secret, or I'm sure most of you know this, even if your lighting looks a certain way, the moment you start either spraying aerosol on it or using fireworks, that makes the light change completely. Like an aerosol light on red or on a yellow can make the colors look orange. I mean, you never know what you're ultimately going to get. So I don't typically mind my lighting. It's just, this one, it just doesn't seem, it's not a very dynamic shot. It's like, all right, Cad just walked out of a bar and he's sitting there like, all right, who wants to fucking go? Something like that, whatever.
Yeah. But it doesn't need to be dynamic, you know?
Yeah.
You're not a Jared, you're not a Sir Dork, you're not a I'll
take it. I
blind.
mean, it's like I said,
But,
I'm okay. I've come to grips with a lot of my IG stuff. I mean, when is the last time, I'm being serious, you heard me on this show bitching and moaning about my reach or lack of likes? I don't care anymore. I really have gotten over that. I hardly even share on Instagram anymore. I might be good for 2 photos a week, and I think that it's been nice. Because I was so caught up in the toy photography hustle from 2016 really to the end of 19, maybe, early 19. I mean, just, it was everything. Nick, I got to have 900 shots on my iPad to process so I can share 2 shots a day, 7 days a week. I mean, that's the cadence I had. And it ultimately almost ruined me. I mean, I wasn't taking my time. I wasn't trying as hard. It was just get a figure. Oh, a figure showed up. Take it out of the box. Take a shoot. Next figure. Shoot. It's like, all right, well, what the fuck did I just do except stand figures in the same spot and take a shot? So I'll take it. It is what it is. I'm happy with where I'm at now in my toy photography, mostly doing portraits, the easy stuff, playing with light, playing with a hand steamer now that I'm indoors. So life is good. I just hope I get out tomorrow, but I don't know if I will. So I might have to bump this week's shoot to Thursday, but I'm trying to stay committed to 1 shoot a week at least. Because it's been fun. Last week, I even brought the little one down with the promise of I'm not going to freak out and yell at you. I'm going to try to make this somewhat intriguing to you as well. So I had her, help me set up shots. I showed her, well, just because we do this on the table doesn't mean it's going to look a certain way in the camera. And she was starting to kind of see how just moving the light down a bit could completely change what it looks like. So it's been fun. It's been good to get back to this a bit and not feel so much like an asshole.
There you go. See, that's good. You're getting to a healthy point with your photography again. But yeah.
And now you want to slap something else on that's going to give me heartache with doing 3D printing and painting. So you just want me to die. So we stopped doing the Star Wars Time show. Nick's like, I just want my fucking Tuesdays back, bitch.
Hey, you could save a little money if you did.
No shit, man. No shit.
I can understand. I understand that the painting is definitely a pain in the ass. But that's the end of the Matt Haywood pop shot breakdown of the week. That's the end of the top 5, and that is the end of the show. So Matt, take us home. This is under 3 hours.
You got it, buddy. Holy shit. As Nick said, you have made it to the finish line. E148 is getting ready to pass out and possibly pass out drunk. But as we always do at this time, we're going to shimmy and shake on over to StarWarsTime.net just to remind either those that forget, or if you're new, hopefully you're new, please be new. We need some new fans. We need more followers. But StarWarsTime.net, that's our home on the internet outside of our YouTube channel. Over there, you can find all the links you need to the topics we talked about on this episode or past episodes. In fact, you can find all of our past episodes just by clicking on the podcast link at the top. If you like what you heard today, if you're into a Star Wars podcast that is for a more uncivilized age, then we'd love for you to sub up to a podcast platform of your choice. Again, StarWarsTime.net, or you could also use our link tree on our Instagram account, which is at Star Wars Time Show. From there, you will see we have a litany of platforms to listen to this slop on. So pick one, pick them all. Even better. And once you do pick one, make sure to rate and review the show. Now, if you're a bigger degenerate and you want to sit around for typically 3 hours or so on a Tuesday, we'd love for you to join us on YouTube. You can also find our YouTube link on StarWarsTime.net. Or like I said, at this point, we've been around long enough. If you just go to YouTube and search the Star Wars Time Show, or on Google, search the Star Wars Time Show, you'll find it. And if you find it, you may be disappointed at first, but like a good case of crotch rot, we will grow on you over time. All right? We do love all of you. We speak your names. If you're a hardcore Star Wars fan and you like the SWTS, you like the little community we got going, don't forget to join our Discord, which again you can find through our Instagram Linktree bio link. I think we added 2 new suckers to the Discord last week, so I guess bringing it up reminds people. If you're watching right now on the live stream, you'd really help us by liking this live stream, leaving a comment. Let's let Google know, let's let the algorithms know that you like the Star Wars Time Show, which means other people should like the Star Wars Time Show. You see how this stuff works? We now have to convince the machines that we like stuff, and other people like us may like it too. So keep those likes going, keep the comments going, keep the sharing going. We're getting there. We're over 700. Let's get to 800 by, March, April. Let's get to 1,000 by my birthday in July. Let's get to 10,000 by December. That'll never happen unless one of us come on here and do something really stupid to have it go viral. Like, I whip out my penis and start flopping it around and talking with my, my member. But one can dream, right? One of these days, we will have a 10,000 strong following of the Star Wars Time Show. And why, though? Why do we need this following? Well, you guys know it. If you're new, you're hearing it. But there's always time for the Star Wars Time Show. There's always time for Star Wars time in general. And besides, if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force, yes, even the midichlorians that carry it, will be with you always.